Oh boy. I was so excited about owning this guy. I was so excited about owning Sean Darcy this year. Oh my god. Here we are. It's begun. It's begun. I'm just gonna be slow. I'm gonna be sad waiting for Big J to get in. Because
Yeah.
I'm just so bummed out, man. I'm so bummed out. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Big Sean Darcy got injured. Oh my god.
Well, I messaged you a couple of days ago, and I'm just like, "Hey Joe, watch out! Big Darcy's not here." And then, "Hey Joe, watch out! Big Darcy's not here." Unfortunately.
How we doing today, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Welcome to the Centre Bounds for another Monday night live stream. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend, and we've got a bit to cover, don't we, Big J? As always.
Oh mate, oh, gonna be a fun night. Couple of hours, guys. It's yeah, Supercoach. I think this year has come quicker than ever in terms of content coming out, in terms of the practice games. I mean, heck, next weekend is going to end up being the first of like the fake matches between each team. So,
Yes.
I don't know about you, Joe. I'm kind of getting a bit overwhelmed a little bit.
Yeah, I know. It's just one thing after another, keeping track of all of these preseason reports and all these tweets and various people not in the best 22 here and there. People dropping like flies on the injury front. But look,
Yeah.
keeping track of all of it, the games will come and the games will certainly shed a lot of light, hopefully, on the roles that people will be playing. And I love this. So funny. Michael, Joe, please tell us which rocks you end up choosing so we can stay away.
Well,
I don't know, man.
I think Joe's going to come out. Well, I mean, I need to do a team reveal, but Joe's current team's got a couple of sneaky pods in there, so it might be a bit of a watch out. Let's not pick these guys.
Yeah, well, I'll do an updated team reveal pre-practice games. I think I'll get it out to you guys tomorrow. My updated team, just sort of tinkering with it a little bit, reading a bit more things here and there. I do like to really have a solid explanation for each of my picks before I put it out. As you would have seen, it was, around 40 odd minutes, my last team reveal. So obviously with this setback for Big Sean Darcy, I'm going to have to had to do a little bit more tinkering with the team, even because I was really set on him at R2. So things have had to change a little bit. And hopefully tomorrow I'll have an updated team reveal for you lads. And Rodney was
no Sean Darcy.
Yeah, Rodney was very quick to get onto it and letting us know Shrek's out. Yes. And Woody's here saying, I told you going to Dubai wasn't good.
Does that mean that we're not picking Chera too? Because Chera had the Dubai trip.
Well, the thing, I don't know, man. The thing is, Darcy just went overseas right now. It's not like Chera who went months ago. I don't know. I don't even know anymore. G'day, Velo. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for coming on. Ian, hi guys. Are we all insane? Perhaps. I'm convinced I am. I've changed my team 87 times.
Me too.
Even though, but only 87 times? Come on, mate. Even though I know my team will be based around what rookie price players are playing round one, which none of us know.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
it's funny like that, isn't it?
Time will tell, obviously, which ones are going to play. But of course, keeping track of the preseason reports gives you a good indication of which ones are going to be starting. Some of the, you think people like Travaglia with all of the injury news, like he was always going to play, but you think with all of the injury news, he's bound to play now, surely?
He'd have to play. Like if he's fit and they don't play him, that shows so much just about him versus anyone else, really.
Yes, correct. So, there's a bunch of rookies that we've seen in the preseason, like Hewitt seems to be a lock for the Eagles going to be playing around the ball a lot more. You got people like obviously Jagger Smith and Elijah Sardis. What also now with news that Darcy Parish isn't going to be taking part in any of the match sims, and I'm telling you, Darcy Parish has had next to no preseason. He's been trying to manage a very banged up back since before Christmas, and he's still barely only running laps. So he's not ready. He's not going to be playing round one. You can almost guarantee that. So it's just so you can lock in Elijah Sardis, I think, as well as another rookie who's bound to play. There's a few. As long as you keep tracking the preseason, there are some big names that are going to play. But of course, some of the other speculative ones that are a bit cheaper that you're not entirely sure of, obviously time will tell about those guys.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Michael.
Yeah, there's a couple of other players, I think, some sneaky ones that will come through. A few players at the Dogs might get a bit of a shout in as well, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Michael says, really enjoyed Jovan's team reveal. He certainly looks at things differently.
Yeah. I don't know if you've caught that, Joe, but it's similar to how I think a Skodfather kind of looks at things. It's not when you go the traditional way, you're set for a traditional score. And generally that means that you're going to be with the pack, not against the pack. And that's really the only way you can jump ahead. So something to think about a little bit. He did make the good point that your team generally will change quite a lot throughout the season. So it's more about having a really strong starting team than anything else. And I think that kind of got shown by him. The defense definitely is a weak spot for his current team. So see what happens. But, there's still a lot of preseason to go. So, yeah.
Yeah, if you guys haven't watched it, it is DR's video with last year's winner, Jovan. I've taken a screenshot, but it's obviously, I don't know why it's come out very blurry for some reason in doing so. Maybe I'm just not a tech whiz, but this is it. You can sort of make it out, surely. He's gone very ultra cheap in the back line with Short, Roberts, Mills, Sean Maker, Travalia, Allen. So this is really cheap, which then allows him to pay up for the Bont in the midfield, Cherry there.
He's kind of gone cheap everywhere. Cheap everywhere that's not the forward line, really.
Well, it's not really cheap. I mean, the forward line's not cheap. There are no rookies there, and he's paid up for. They are the more expensive of the mid prices, and Parker, Sanders paid up top dollar for the Horn Francis as well. So, he's certainly splashed the cash in the forward line, as they say. Got the most expensive forward, second most expensive ruck, most expensive midfielder. So he's paid up where he thinks, I guess, the value lies. And we've spoken about the Bont and the value of starting the Bont. Yes, it's not the money. He will get a bit cheaper later, but you are saving yourself 3 trades to get him in. It's very unlikely you'll be able to one up, one down to get Bontempelli in. So you're finding value on the trades front whilst also locking in a captain option every single week. So on the value, and he doesn't like any of the premiums by the looks of things in the back line. So if you want to have a more in-depth, I suppose, understanding of each of the picks, DR does an incredible job in interviewing him in that video. A great watch, and if you haven't, check it out.
Yep.
Let's see if there's any comments about this one. Jovan having both TDK and Sherry could be good early, and both on the round 12 bye.
Yeah, I think TDK is an interesting one. I've currently got him in my team, but not sure if he'll be there the whole time. It's more just no one else really being available. I mean, Darcy's out now. Meek's got questions. Unless you're going Max Gorn at 33, you're really not locked into picking anyone else. I know Joe's a little bit interested in Nank at the moment, but even he's 50k more expensive, so it doesn't give you as many options, really.
Yeah, it is a little bit difficult in setting out which ones you want, only because Gorn is just so expensive. If Gorn wasn't so expensive at that age, I think a lot of people would be would be finding ways to lock Big Maxi in. especially without the early buy as well. So it's so it's a little bit interesting there for me. TDK just definitely has the most upside for that price. If he's rucking by himself, his average is very, very impressive and off the charts. So we're sort of banking on deconning solo rucking, and I think he will. Will it be every week? Look, probably not. Especially if there's an injury in the forward line. Like, thankfully, Kurno has avoided serious injury, which means that they can probably keep with the same structure. But Pito is actually, we like to call him shit, right? as a joke, shitane, but he's actually a very serviceable tap ruckman, and I have no doubt there will be games where Pito will pinch hit in the ruck with declining. But for the games where he's going to be doing it by himself, we're just anticipating that he can continue to develop. Contract year, big decision for him. A lot of offers will be coming for deconning, and players tend to really perform in a big way in a contract year. So we'll see about deconning. With Sherry, I've been most comfortable fading Sherry. I've sort of explained it in my team reveal video the other week. He's got a really tough fixture to start the season. So, and Sherry's fixture really opens up after his buy. So for me, if I had to pick one of the most expensive rucks, for me, I'd personally go with Gorns, just because I know, he's going to be number one ruck. He doesn't have the round 12 buy, and his fixture's considerably easier for rucks as they begin with. Now, having said that, Gorn's run will always be easier than everyone else because he doesn't have to play against himself. Whereas if you're playing against Gorn, good luck. So if we sort of go to the our trusty friend Mortz and his incredible DFS website, we're looking at the season-long run. We go to the ruck. Just look at the ruck, how things begin in the ruck department, and we go to North Melbourne. He's got the Giants to begin with, so it could be a healthy Briggs this year. Briggs should be healthy. He's come back earlier. He's fit and firing. Sorry, that's Melbourne. Sorry, North Melbourne. So he's got the Eagles. He's got the Dogs, all right? The Dogs, he'll kill English. He's got Gorn, Rob, restrictive. Grundy was restrictive. Witts is tough. Then he's got Carlton, where he could be facing a week of a double up with Pito, because Sherry's a very good ruckman. So Carlton might decide, you know what, we're going to double team him with both Pitane and DeConning. There could be that. Yeah, he should do well against Port. Essendon were the most restrictive against rucks. Brisbane, Big O, very restrictive against rucks as well. So we've got quite a few tough matchups to start the year. You get to the bye, and then after that, woo! Green, baby, green. I love the green run for Tristan Sherry after that. So I personally would love to be able to get Tristan Sherry for this run after he's lost quite a bit of cash going through some of these tougher matchups here.
We'll see. Maybe Sherry comes out and smashes everybody.
Oh, if he does, then that would be incredible. But I guess the only question would be, where would the extra points come from? Because he was a tackling machine, and his tackling average was 2 more than Nankervis, and Nankervis is a great tackling machine as well. It's very rare for rucks to feature so highly in the tackle department, in the rankings. He was like top 10 for tackles in the entire competition as a ruck. It's very hard to back up really high tackle numbers year upon year. Now, he might be the one to do it, and if he does, kudos to him. I do want him in my side. I'm not saying no, but for me, I'm personally planning after the bye. I'm thinking for me personally.
See how we go.
All right, let's keep going up. Let's see who we haven't said hello to before. Michael.
What's up, Michael?
J and Joe. And if you built it, they will come, Nostradamus.
There you go.
They will come, Nostradamus. Darcy Injury, there's a shock. G'day, Fiddler. How's it going? Good to see you. he has Dubai ankle. He might have left his ankle in Dubai is the problem. I don't know. G'day, Linda. Good to see you. Welcome.
What's up, Linda?
Frankie. G'day, my friend.
What's up, Frankie?
He fell off a camel. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, Michael. And then we have another Michael. This is of the West Coast Eagles variety. Reedy and Flynn. R1 and R2 starters.
Well, I don't know about Flynn because Flynn's been naked. I don't think he's even played best 22 football preseason at the moment. He's had injuries, and then looks like, at least in training, BJ Williams is number one again. So could be something to be said there, which is not great for him.
Tell us, Michael. Tell us. Because it looks like he's really fighting for a spot with BJ Williams. So I don't know about that.
Yeah, I just think there's no pressure for him, really. Like they expect him to play at some point, but he's a guy that's just had injury after injury after injury, and with a player like that, you really don't want to rush him. If you do, comes back, and what happens when he does another hamstring or another leg or something, and then he's cooked again. So it's not great.
Yeah, we don't like cooking Flynn. G'day, Cheese. G'day, my friend. I literally finally jumped on the Darcy train the day before that news got announced. Sorry, Joe. I think it was my fault. No, it wasn't. Don't worry about it, Cheese.
That's right.
I don't
Round
blame
zero,
you.
I think, saved everyone at the moment. Like all these preseasons, like Shai Bolton, no one's picking him anymore. No one's picking Darcy. There's quite a few players like that that's kind of just fallen off to the wayside a little bit and saved a lot of coaches.
Yeah, look, that's the risk with Nankervis. The risk with with Darcy, with Big Sean Darcy. The risk with Darcy always has been his body. Will his body hold up? That's the whole thing. And we were thinking, you know what? Look how beautiful he looks. Like he looked so trim. He looked so fit and healthy. Like, look at his face. Like, he knows he's hot now. You know what I mean? Like, and then he just knows that he's gonna be fine. And then he isn't because of an infection in his ankle where the screw is. Blame the doctors, man. Blame the doctors. They're the ones who ruined the pick for us. Not you, Cheese. I do not blame you, all right? I don't blame you. Mark Lavelle. G'day, Mark.
What's up, Mark? How you doing?
Oh, man. Draper is looking real good. I actually am ridiculous. I did the Essendon write-up for... You guys know how the Supercoach Swordplay boys have been doing the pre-season guide. I did the contributions for the Essendon Bombers, and there is an option in there for you to say who is your sneaky mid-pricer at the Bombers, and I've put in Sam Draper. I know, it's ridiculous, but such is the pre-season this guy has been having. Contract year, he's really trimmed up, fighting it out with Nick Bryan. I think this is going to be a massive year for Draper. He's taken marks, he's kicking goals. Mate, he is going bananas, Mark. Draper is going bananas. I was talking about it last year, but it was perhaps 1 year too early. This might be the year of Draper. Do you want to select him? Don't do it. You'll play too much forward. But he's looking good, though. From a football perspective, he's looking good.
Yeah.
G'day, Sean. How's it going?
What's up, Sean?
Travis is thinking of starting Zorko the Magnificent now that Coleman is out till gathering.
It definitely seems like there's a few people jumping on the Zorko train at the moment. I've seen a few teams kind of come out and say, hey, get in my side, and I could be swayed. For me, he's too expensive at almost 600K. But if you look at his stats, Joe, he's basically taking all of the kickouts. Did a stream with Supercoach Masters yesterday. Guys, check it out when it pops out soon. And kind of looked at Zorko. I think he had 100 plus kickouts, and the next one had like 40. So, yeah, it makes things a bit tough.
He's also got a ripper run. Yeah, he's also got a ripper run. Looking at the run again, Clap Mortz's DFS Australia, AFL season long defense versus position. Brisbane have got a great run. The easiest
Yeah.
of all the teams when it comes for, halfback kick-in takers, and
He's the only one
GWS
there.
second easiest. So, sorry, what are you saying?
He's the only one down back as well. It kind of works out quite well for him when he's going to share the ball with nobody. Maybe Dode comes back and does well, but yeah, that's a big if.
Yeah, exactly. So, look, people, for me, I can understand and get around the Zorko pick. But for me, a guy at that age, coming off a later preseason start, obviously coming off the premiership win, which was incredible, and historical, continuous injuries in the soft tissue department. So for me, I'm probably going to go against it just because I feel like most of the odds, he's got the roll and the run. You might think that's enough, but I think in terms of the interrupted preseason, the late start, his age, and his soft tissue injury, I'm probably going to fade it personally. And he's very expensive. You're right, Big J. He is very expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, like if he was like even a Nick Martin price or down to a Bailey Dale price, I think a lot more people would be getting him in. But now you're competing with almost a Sheasel, you're competing with a Whitfield level of price as well. It's it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. Maybe I downgrade Sheasel to him and then upgrade McKercher to someone else and fill out the back line a little bit more. But yeah, it's a rough one.
Travis, I think you're perfectly fine going for him. Don't consider me trying to talk you off of this pick. Like I said,
go for it if you
there are
like
definite reasons and there are definite pros and different people, different players have different risk profiles with the way they like to play. Like for me, I'm not the biggest fan of starting, overly injury prone players. You might think, oh, that's a bit hypocritical considering that you wanted to start Darcy, but I just saw how much fitter he got and how thin he got. And it's just like, well, that means there should be less injury that way. But then again, some people, unfortunately, are just cursed. All right. G-Bags, hey fellas, is Jaden Short a viable option to run at D3, or should I pivot to a Rivers or McKercher?
Well, if you're former, I guess not former, if you're current number one Supercoach ranked person in Australia, you've got him at D1. So, it's an interesting one. My only problem with Short is he's never done it before. So even when it was his commanding back line, he's never done it. He's always been there. He's had good games and then terrible games. And I think, does he just become the pig? Potentially. But I would love if Richmond had a round zero game and we could see a lot more from him. At the moment, that's obviously not a possibility.
So looking at the kick-ins from last year, I know people are going to be saying, there's no Rioli. Rioli is gone. But Rioli didn't really, he was a distant third on the kick-in front. It was definitely Short and Vlosten who were really doing most of the heavy lifting. Now, Vlosten's still going to be there, and Vlosten's still going to be eating into those kick-ins with Jaden Short. And you look at the back end of the year, Rioli barely had one or two. So, let's have a look at Jaden Short's scoring. Let's say from round, I don't know, like he's always been only 2-0, 3-2, 3-0, 1. Like it's really not, it's not like he really was eating a lot into his scoring. Let's see, from what round is this? This is from round, let's say, round 8. Let's say from round 8 when so Jaden Short's average. Now, Jaden Short is also another one who has got a substantial soft tissue injury, history. So, again, older player, injury prone, 16 games with hardly any kick-ins being eaten into him, 86.4. Now, at the price that Jaden Short is at, Jaden Short, if I look him up, his break-even is, if Supercoach would load for me, is 82. He's currently got a break-even of 82. Now, Jaden Short has never in his career averaged 100. If I scroll up, Look at his history. 82, 98, 97, 98, 98, 65, 83, 58, 63. So even at Jaden Short's best, he's never averaged 100, despite playing the great role, all the kick-ins and whatnot. He has taken the lion's share of the kick-ins in the back half of the year last year, still only managed the 86 points. He's priced at 82. So even if he goes at 90 or 95, that's barely 10 points of upside. Is that enough for you to risk with the injury? With his injury history, that's a matter for you to decide. You're looking at something 16 games there. This is obviously the premiership era, so there was a lot of extra games in these years. He still didn't play a full season, no full season. A lot of non-full season years for Jaden Short. So for me, I'm not going to go there. And also, there are he's a very divisive option, even among a lot of Richmond supporters. Can't get all the Richmond supporters that I've spoken to, I can't get a general consensus of whether or not Jaden Short's a good pick or not. Some might go with him, like Eno, for example, for Fantasy Take TV. He's going to go with Short. But you've got others like the Swizz and the Squadfather, both the Richmond guys as well, and neither of them are going to go with Jaden Short. So all of that just adds to the intrigue, and for me, more of a turn off. So I'm not going to go with Short. I do prefer Rivers, who's going to be playing on the ball. Obviously, you might prefer McKercher, right, Big J?
Yeah, I think McKercher is probably the best selection at that 460k mark. There's a couple of others that are around there. Humphreys at a little bit cheaper, and then Evans at a lot cheaper, but McKercher's a gun.
Linda, what's your thoughts on Tom De Koning?
I don't mind him. It just all depends on role. And I think the beautiful thing is that we get round 0 with TDK. So we can see what the lineup is. We can even just see, not round 0. We don't get round 0. So I'm thinking of SDK. I don't mind Tom De Koning. I think round 12 really hurts him because majority of us are going Cherry. So you could forego Cherry and go Gorn and TTK if you really want to. When he's solo rucks, he's fantastic, but Pitnet is still on the team. So I don't know if he's going to end up solo rucking or not. And that's probably a massive turn off in him being in my side. So, yeah, it's a bit rough. You would hate to bring him in.
I've just selected the games last year where he had 50.
Yeah. You would hate to bring him in and then Pitnet comes in and then makes it even harder to be able to trade down when he drops like 50k.
Yeah, I mean, these are the games highlighted here where he had at least 50% of the ruck contests, which means that he wasn't really sharing with Pitene. So this is solo, 113, which means sharing 77. That's a huge 113 down to 77. That's rough. So we're picking De Koning for the 113 average where he's solo rucking. That's what we're picking him for. We're not picking him for, necessarily being R1, but he presents a lot of value, and he might be someone that you're happy to start with at the cheaper price, have him go up in price, and then maybe trade him off to someone who was more expensive earlier on in the year for, like a sideways almost. That would be the most ideal. You could sideways him to a Tristan Sherry, who has a very difficult start to the season. And if we compare it to Richmond, to Carlton, what's Carlton's run like with the rucks to start the year? Richmond's green, Hawthorn's green, the Dogs are green, Collingwood's tough, West Coast's green, North is tough, Geelong is green.
Not bad early.
So in his first 7, he's already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of his first 7 are green matchups. And if he's solo rucking in those, then, he'll be making a lot of money very quickly. So that come by round time, you could just sideways him to a Tristan Sherry who has, as we mentioned before, a lot tougher of a start. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I'd also love to know if Luke Jackson is an option Oh,
Sorry.
yes, Luke Jackson.
It's interesting, right? I saw some track watchers talking about Luke Jackson potentially best on ground, but not in his preferred. Well,
Correct.
in our supposed preferred position, he was actually playing mid. So they had Reedy, I think, being the ruckman, and then Jackson kind of running around and doing Jackson things. So if you look at Tyler Goad from North Melbourne, I think he's going to end up being a similar type of player. But yeah, Jackson, mate, he might just get CBAs and then not actually get the ruck hit out. So it could be a very interesting year for him. I think our forward line has so many good, cheap players that one of those could easily become Jackson after like 3 weeks or 4 weeks or a couple of price rises, and we get a bit more of a defined kind of where he's going to end up playing or not. If Shrek's out for a while, Jackson definitely could be a pick. Just depends on what happens with Reedy, but I think they like him as a mobile threat target across the field, which means that I don't think he'll be locked into a ruck position.
Let me just pull up the games where Darcy didn't play. So Darcy did not play rounds 1 to 5, 9 and
Am
10.
I lagging or is Joe lagging everybody?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 to 5, 9 and 10. 18, and then 22 to 24. 18, 22, 24. Okay. So these games are 11 games where Luke Jackson played without Darcy. That's 106 points. Got 106 without Sean Darcy. All right. Now, what does that mean? That means that with Sean Darcy was 6, 7, 8. I'm pretty sure. 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17. 11 to 17. And then 19 to 21. And you're on the averaged 84 with Sean Darcy in the side. So again, another one who is substantially affected by playing as the second ruck. For me, from what I can tell with the news of Sean Darcy, it doesn't seem that he's missing a lot of football. It seems that he's just going to undergo a minor surgery. From the way they were talking about it, it only seems like he's missing like the first couple of weeks. And the removal of the screw will mean that Darcy will have a couple of weeks of deloading to recover from the procedure before recommencing training. He's been training diligently throughout the preseason, continuing to implement his knee program during this period as he prepares to return to full training.
Yeah, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, it seems that it's just going to be, yes, it'll only be a small adjustment to his return to play timelines, with the aim to return to football in the early rounds of the season. So to me, it doesn't seem like Jackson is going to be solo rucking for any significant period of time to warrant him as a selection, because the flip side is that when Sean Darcy comes back, he's only going to go back to an 84 averaging type player, which isn't even top 6 to 8 forward this year.
Yeah, especially with Horn Francis Rankin being around a similar price, and then McRae, Smith, potentially a Parker, Daniel, Sanders all being a bit cheaper. It's too much of a risk, even though they do have the early buy, like a good buy and no early buy. It's a bit too much.
Frankie, I went Darcy to Nank, Big J. Thoughts on Whitlock?
I think Whitlock's fantastic, but I don't think he's going to feature early. So I think there's probably some better selections across different lines. Whitlock should potentially play, but we need some major injuries down back. He's not number 1. He's not number 2. We've got guys like Dawson, heck, even Finbar Maley in the in the works before we lock. So but we'll see what happens, but it's probably a no from me.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a good player, though.
Chera was on Triple M's Rush Hour today. Said best he's ever felt in a preseason. Way, that's big.
Go.
That's big. No, I'm happy about that because I think Chera at that price point definitely presents a lot of value. I mean, he's done 106 before in the past. Went to Qatar. Hopefully, got his body right. Will be playing inside mid. Has been training there all preseason. Obviously, missed out on the latest match sim because of a wedding. Now that intrigues me. Big J, you tell me. If one of my best players in my team, right, my teammate is getting married, but no one goes to it. Like no one, not a single person that I can tell from the Carlton Blues attended his wedding. What does that say? Does that make him still a viable selection?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? I think there was another player similar to this. People in the chat will let me know, but I'm pretty sure there was a player a couple of years ago that just came to a new club and it was just like alienated or wanted to get, maybe it was like Rory Lobb or someone was like, he wanted to leave. They didn't let him leave and then just got alienated by like all the players. I wonder if something like that's happened with Chera. I mean, it could have been like, if you remember my wedding, right, where I had to be there super early in the morning and then everyone else showed up at 4:00. That could have been the same thing too. Like Chera did morning stuff, everyone went to training, then they went to the marriage afterwards. But yeah, it doesn't bode well unless he just did something and said, hey, look, I'm not going to invite anyone, but surely invite the captain.
Yeah, but like you're saying he's a new club. The guy's he's played 3 seasons there.
That's what I'm saying. Like if a bit of a dodgy, someone's done a dodgy.
We are, isn't Joe? The Blues don't need to be best mate and hold hands.
Well, there you go. There you go. Potentially that's the way, but yeah, it just seems a bit dodge.
There's got to be at least, you don't have to be best mates, but just be a mate. Like, how does no one goes to this guy's wedding? Like, come on, guys. You got to be better than that, surely. That's pretty funny. Right. Script scrolling up. Going with the big two now. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be doing that, Woody. The big two with Gawn and Sherry just seems to be the safest. Hey, as is this guy, Hippo, you Greek Adonis. Hippo? Not even Greek, I don't think, but you still look like Adonis to me, bro, you hunk of a man. If you haven't subscribed to Hippo, go on over, subscribe to the guy. Absolute legend. Best rants on YouTube, in my opinion. Best rants. But you seem really chill this year, mate. So chill. I'm missing your videos a little bit, mate. You got to pump out some more. Locked away. Doesn't trust anyone else. Fair enough. There you go. Even Sunshine playing safe with Gawn and Sherry. You can do that.
I think a lot of people are going to do that. It's going to be the one that maybe picks a Jordan Sweet or picks that Tim English or whichever person is going to be this year's cherry that maybe gets a little bit of an advantage. Like, how many people are going to pick BJ Williams if Flynn kind of necks himself, or if Ned Reeves gets the number 1 spot and Meek moves to a forward line? You know, those kind of cheeky people. So we'll see what happens. I'm surprised there's not more Liam Reedies, really.
Look, I mean, I just don't think Reedy's going to be around for long enough when Sean Darcy comes back.
Potentially,
the problem. You know, like if he's only going to miss the first couple of weeks, you'll automatically get a what's his face? You know, a rookie that's become all of a sudden a dead player. You know, I'm surprised some people aren't even thinking of Jordan Sweet, perhaps. Like, I'm pretty sure Ivan Soldo is got an ankle injury at the moment, which would mean that Jordan Sweet will be solo rucking. And if we go to the season-long DVP for the ruck, where's Port Adelaide? If we go by average, Port Adelaide have the 3rd easiest ruck run of all the rucks. You never know. Jordan Sweet could be the guy who could be the sneaky little Tristan Sherry selection of 2025. I don't know. That would be pretty bonkers. I'm not going to go there myself, personally. I don't have the cojones. But especially after what he did to me last year with his freaking COVID and missing football and that sucked so bad. That killed my season.
Yeah.
But Jordan Sweet, mate, get around him. Could potentially be the Tristan Sherry this year.
Yeah, we'll see. See what happens.
Yeah, Velo, it was a sad week this week with, unfortunately, Adam Hunter passing away. Guys, we've mentioned it before, but it's something that clearly has to be continuously mentioned. You're not alone. You've got friends out there, and the internet is a very big place. There is someone out there closer than you think who will be around to have a chat with you. If you've got problems, mental health problems are increasingly becoming a lot more recognized and understood. And if you've got troubles, it's okay to say that you're not okay. Talk to a friend whilst they're around. If you pick up on something, even if it might seem small for each of us to ask each other if you're okay. But that small little act could go a long way to having future conversations with this person, because it's much easier having the conversation now than potentially regretting it afterwards. So, no man is an island, guys.
We're always here too if you guys want to shoot us a message on Facebook or Twitter or whatever as well.
And Louise, Parrish won't play all year. Look, it seems like it. He's had like next to no preseason. It's ridiculous. That's why I'm just saying you got to lock in someone like Elijah Sardis. The universe is setting it up. The universe is setting it up for us. Going in hard with the rucks at the moment. Gone Sherry and English in the flex.
I read that as English as R3, and I'm like, what a boy,
English R3.
English R3 boys.
That would be crazy. English R3 and Boyd in flex.
There you go, Joe.
That would be bonkers. So that means, Ian, you're locking in that you reckon Gorn, Sherry, and English are the top 3 rucks this year, and you might be right. I think you're right about that. I think you're right. Playing traditional is boring. Let's be honest. Absolutely.
It just doesn't get you anywhere. That's the only problem. You don't want to be the guy that upgrades his team at the same time. You don't want to be the guy that has like 3 rookies left come round 12 that need to be finished. That's where people saying, hey, I'll stack this position, I'll stack that position. Maybe I grab all the good rookies and then my midfield might be a bit weaker. Whatever it is, do something different than the group, as long as it's not crazy, to kind of have a different team and a different run throughout the year.
Yeah, exactly. Look, the thing with traditional is if you play with the tried and true, like the guns and rookies, and you hit the right rookies, you're not gonna lose in terms of, you're not gonna have a bad end to the season. You'll have a very solid finish, a very solid season, and you might win a few leagues, perhaps. Maybe not all of your leagues, but you might win half to most of your leagues, and you might consider that a year. Let's roll around for next year. But if you want to win it all, if winning it all is your dream, then playing traditional will not be the right way to go. Justin Haytana, the rookie info is gold, guys. Keep up the great work. Cheers, Justin.
Thanks, Justin. And we'll probably have some more stuff coming out this week of players that we're looking forward to in the preseason games and things like that. So stay tuned for all that information.
100%. Linda, would Trent Rivers be good?
I think he'd be a good pod because not many people are going to pick him. But there's a few other players I like around the same price. It's an interesting one. I think as Melbourne put more resources into that midfield, Rivers might be the one that gets pushed out a little bit, which could be good because he goes back to half back instead of pure mid. But it's a big wait and see. I think at that price, just go on McKercher if you can afford it. I know I'm hot on McKercher, but yeah, he's a good player. And
looking at his scores, so in the rounds last year where he had let's see, some CBAs. If you had some CBAs, doesn't have to be more than a certain amount. If he played any amount of midfield, he averaged 93. If he had more than 50%, what did he score? He had more than 50%. He went at 92. So, what happens if he went more than 60? 94.
94. Yeah, so
You know,
are you
like
expecting him to have more than 60% CBAs plus?
Exactly.
It's rough.
Especially
when Petrarca's back, Oliver's back as well. There's some talk that Langdon might move a little bit more into the midfield as well. So does that push him out? Langford looks to be playing a bit of wing, and I think a couple of others as well. So
yeah. Like the big
it almost
scores,
feels like the odd person out a little bit.
Yeah, the big scores for Rivers came where he had over 70% centre bounces. That's where you got that big jump into 115 territory. Do we think Rivers is going to get 70+% centre bounces? That's a question. I mean, if we're looking at last year, what do you have? So Oliver for sure, locked in. Viney for sure, locked in. Petrarca will probably play more forward this year. All right. So, but even then, he only had the 56% last year. So it's not like Petrarca was a centre bounce hog. Yeah. So he was only 56%. Sparrow had 38. Cosy Pickett, he'll continue to float through there. Rivers had 30%. From the games that he played, obviously these seriously eat into his percentage. I don't know about Rivers. He's a bit of a speculative pick especially at that price point, and he's unlikely to be a keeper. I think at that price point, you're looking for someone to be a keeper. Maybe a Roberts type in the back line for a similar price. McKercher potentially.
Pick up forward if you can.
Yeah, or you could pick up a forward. I think at that price, there are other options that could end up being keepers, like a Roberts type, for example. Like Roberts in the home and away season, he was averaging keeper numbers, pretty sure, Matt Roberts, during the home and away season. Obviously, during the finals, that changed for some reason.
Is saying they're putting their resources into Rivers midfield. So potentially one to watch in the preseason if that's true. We've got a couple of games to have a fluff around with. So, yeah.
VFL. Oh, wait, this is a sub game. That's a sub game, and that's a sub game. Take off the sub games.
Yeah. It's not bad.
During the season, he averaged 90. During 90 over the average during the course of the season. I'm pretty sure his back half of the year was really positive after the buys. Yeah, he had a 7-game stretch where he won 111. So, if he's going 111, 110, 105 in the back line, that could be a keeper for the same price as opposed to Roberts, versus Langdon versus Rivers. Few players moving through that midfield. There was a report now that Langdon's moving off of the wing and playing more on the ball. So it just seems like a bit of a, I don't know, interesting mix what's happening over there at Melbourne. We'll have a look and see in the preseason games. TDK too good of price. Yeah, TDK is great at the price. Yeah, agreed. I pulled a sickie for work. Sorry if the boss is watching. Oh, whoops. To watch the Super Bowl, which was a disaster. So I'm glad I've got you boys to entertain me tonight. Oh, it's only a disaster.
Thank you very much.
If you like the Chiefs, you're a Chiefs fan, Cheese? Oh my God, I did not pick you to be that. I did not pick you to be a Chiefs fan. Geez, the Super Bowl result was bloody awesome. I agree. The Chiefs were exposed for the fraudulent team that they are. They kept getting all of the umpire decisions every single week to get them over the line. They make it to the big dance and then got destroyed. Here. Should have been the Bills. It should have been Josh Allen and the Bills.
There you go. You heard it here first.
I faded Gorn last year and it cost me big not making that mistake this year.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately that's
Don't remind me. Don't remind me, Michael.
It's going to be the same case for a few people. The thing with Supercoach is that you can always bring in any players you want to, realistically, unless you've got, well, you could go really cheap and have to spend all your trades to get the good ones in, but you can bring in any players you want to. It's just a case of do you start them or not? And yeah, that's where a lot of the advantage comes from, really. But fade Gorn, cool. Fade Roberts, cool. Fade Sheasel, whoever, cool. Like round 3, prices go up. Bring these players in. There's no worries.
Yeah. I went Gorn over Sherry with DTK and Boyd. Yeah, I like that, Vela. I think I might be. I think I have that at the moment. I might have that at the moment for my team. TDK has scored some high Supercoach scores. We can get those high scores again this season. Look, he's got a great run. We sort of went through it
just
in the DVP.
Just don't share the rucks, that's all.
Correct. As long as he's not sharing the ruck, he's got quite the favourable start to the year. 5 out of 7 are green matchups. If he's solo rucking for at least most of those, then we flying. He flying, ladies and gentlemen. The game itself was horrible to watch. Fair enough. Halftime show was worse. Mate, how terrible was the national anthem as well? Like, I don't know. I could not recognize that as the national anthem personally. Always good to see the Chiefs lose. Agreed. Problem. Hey, Kai. G'day, Kai. If you haven't subbed to Kai,
what's up,
doing
Kai?
some great work this preseason as well. Cherry's the only fit primo ruck that is in their 20s.
Well, there you go.
Hey, there's Sam Draper as well, Kai.
Oh, yeah, Sam Draper. How old's Reedy? Reedy's currently fit too.
Mate,
that's it.
Check out the ruck. Look at Essendon's run. We got the best run for rucks. Sammy Draper, come on down. If it's not Sam Draper, then maybe Nick Bryan. But Nick Bryan will certainly get subbed out.
Todd Goldstein's going to start the season again, is he?
Hey, Goldie, let's go. Boyd play round 1. I think so, Jaden. I think so. Ian, Sherry is still developing. I would bank on him improving this year.
Yeah, there's definitely potential for it to happen. More just, I think it might not be affected as much by Cherry as well as the midfield actually getting better and getting a few more hit-outs to advantage and, you know, potentially some of that as well. So we could get a bit of an uptick.
I mean, where does the uptick come from? So he's
just
time on ground.
That's
he's up. He's more CBAs.
more CBAs.
More CBAs. Like, come on.
I think he's building towards a Goldstein style where he'll play close to 100% time on ground. I've seen him at training a little bit, and he's trying to bust his guts a bit that way. So there is a bit of an uptick from there. Potentially his tackles kind of stay the same and gets a bit more around the ground, but I think it's more hit-outs to advantage. His ruck contests aren't bad. It's just like, where's the ball go after that? And I think with a more improved ruck, we'll be a bit better. But we'll see. We'll see, Ian. I'd love him to jump up and just do a bit better.
Look, if he does better than this, that would be insane. Personally, it's for the whole year, especially considering the tough start. Now, he might end up getting to around this point after the Mickey Mouse run in the second half of the season. Because it does become more Mickey Mouse after the bye. If we go to North, where's North again? Yeah, after the bye, bang. You've got West Coast, Freo, Carlton, Hawthorn, Dogs. You know what I mean? Like, you've got a nice explosion of average, perhaps, in the back half of the year. So I'm looking forward to having him in my side from round 13 onwards. Just before that, don't go crazy. Before that, just calm it down.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, if you haven't already, smash that like button. Helps us out a lot. We got 85 people on, so doesn't cost you anything to do it.
Correct. Sherry is odds on to drop 0.65 or more tackles per game, as that's what happens for top 10 tacklers. Exactly, Kai.
Potentially. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, round does Darcy return? It sounds like it will be early in the season, Jaden. But maybe first couple of weeks, perhaps. Henry V, hello. What you drinking? That's a crazy emoji. That's one crazy emoji, mate. Justin, at least you go with the percentage of rucks everyone has with Sherry and TDK, or maybe make a case for Gorn.
Yeah.
You could go with everyone else.
Gorn, unless there's someone super cheap that's going to solo ruck, as Cherry was last year, it's okay to go with the more expensive ones and then drop some other players. Trade down, do whatever you want to do. So there's risk can be had in other spots. We generally don't like to trade our rucks as much as we can. So start the consistent, potentially the most expensive, and then say, cool, round 4, 5, 6, they're not performing, can offload them when I know which one's going to be number 1, number 2.
Exactly. Look, if you go with the crowd, yes. If you go with the crowd, you won't get burnt. But if you beat the crowd, then you're flying and you could be on to a winner. So it's not just a question of, are we all going to have Sherry? I think ideally people are going to be finishing their teams with Tristan Sherry in their side, because Tristan Sherry is that dude. At that age, with that role, no competition for ruck spots. Like, you're going to finish your team with Tristan Sherry. The only question is, which scores are you going to have in your ruck line? Are you going to have the Tristan Sherry tough, maybe 105? Maybe Tristan Sherry might go 105 average to 100, 105 maybe, with all of these tough start to the year. Mm-hmm. He might go 105 average, and then after the bye, he might go, say, 120. And then that sort of balances out to 110, average for the year. But which one would you rather have? Would you rather have the 105 at the start, having paid top dollar, or would you rather trade him in for the 120 after his bye when he's dropped about, say, $70,000, right? Based on that high price. And the person that you do have may be someone like a TDK in that spot. TDK has a much easier run. He might score 115 to 120 perhaps with that great run. So he's outscoring Sherry for those first bit by 10 points per game. And then you flip him to Sherry in the back half, and then you get those 120s from Tristan Sherry. So that's the ideal, in my mind, that's the ideal strat for me. Now, of course, can you time it? Will that actually happen? It's a different matter. How many games will Pitane eat into DeConning? That they'll obviously hurt as well. But for me, I'm thinking that's sort of my strat at the moment.
There you go. Bello was just asking about Max Gorn, and Gorn just fell off. So that's always exciting.
Oh, no. We need Unbranded back. I'm sorry, Unbranded. Oh. I think I prefer Zorko now with Coleman. Causa, yes, Zorko. You're not the only one. A few people are big on the Zorko train.
No, I think his ownership's jumped like 5% already. It's just expensive.
Yeah. I do think that he will be fine. I think he's a great option. But as long as he stays fit and healthy, he should score well. Got the role, got the run, the easy fixture. But he's so expensive and just so injury prone, coming off a late preseason, premiership flag, all that jazz. So for me, happy to put a line through him. No injuries, Big J. He and Bailey Williams went head to head in a match sim.
Yeah, I don't know. He's not a selection for me. That's all I'll say.
Maltesing! G'day to my favorite YouTubers. Oh, cheers, Maltesing. That's so nice. So close to the season starts. Question: heard that McCurch will be playing more forward. Was going to have him in my team. Not sure what to do.
We need a fake news. Maybe I'll do up a fake news overlay, Joe, just while we have a bit of a break. But yeah, no, I think I said yesterday that they're going to play him wherever they want to play him. Wherever the ball is, he'll be there. If that means that he pushes up towards the forward 50 as the pressure's on in that position, then fantastic. Does that mean that he runs up and down the ground and do a few different things and ends up in the forward line after starting at halfback? Potentially. But to say that he's going to play forward this year, I don't think it's going to happen. There's so many good players through there. He's not pushing a Parker or a Jai Simpkin or anyone else like that out of a half forward position. I just don't see it happening. Wing, halfback, mid is going to be McKercher's spot this year, I think. And it's where he's been lining up a little bit, and it's where kind of his skills are used as much as they can. So bullet pass into the forward line, fantastic. But I don't think he's going to be stuck in the forward line. Okay. He's too good. He's too good of a good player to relegate him to the forward line. He's not Bevo. So. Clarko's not Bevo.
You would think so.
Now you're playing small forward. Yeah.
Like he would almost certainly be playing more halfback if not for you guys acquiring Caleb Daniel, right? So because that Caleb Daniel is absolutely locked into that halfback role, right? Yep. He is the quarterback, the distributor. Yep. Everything is going through Caleb Daniel.
Yeah, I can 100% see a line where McKercher's on one side and Caleb Daniel's on the other side of halfback. And then someone like a Luke McDonald's on the bench. Like, I can see that happen 100%. And I think that's probably going to be close to our starting lineup.
Fair enough. I'm unsure to go Gorn or Nank.
Well, one's a lot cheaper. That's probably my only thing.
Look, Nank, Curvis. So they're both older. They're both older gentlemen.
You're both old. Sorry, fellas.
So we can't say. that that can't be used against them. Rucks have longer careers because it takes them longer to get into the swing of things at footy level. They're bigger, they're stronger. It was a career best year for Toby. And I'm pretty sure, was it also a career best year for Maxi as well?
Oh, it was close.
I go Max Gorn. Was it a career best year? I don't know. I feel like it might have been career best.
I feel
124. No.
During COVID time, 100%.
Yeah, but that's
this guy went bonkers. COVID, bro.
Yeah, but that's cheating. This is this game. This year had crazy scaling because it was shorter games, right? So, in terms of normal seasons, it was probably his equal second best year to date.
Yeah.
After 2019, where he went 128.
So we saw with Grundy. We saw with Grundy for a fair amount as well that I think when Max Gorn and Grundy shared a bit, they really struggled. So when Grundy left, Max Gorn was like, "Hey, mate, cool, locked in. I'm not sharing with no one." And then we saw just how devastating it was with the intercepts. I think Max Gorn's an interesting one. He's always good for that right at the end of the siren goal when he ends up on 80 and all the non-Max Gorn owners are like, yeah, Max Gorn, he's scored under 100. And then 2 minutes to go, he's in the forward line, gets a free kick and then scores a goal. So, yeah, I think just kind of depleted tools on the Melbourne team mean that he always ends up floating back or floating forward being that good because he's got a really good contested mark. Like, it's just perfect. So, yeah, works out quite well.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it. Like the
Trav.
Trav.
What's up, Trav? Is it worth fading Shees early? I need to make a clickbait overlay as well because I think that's fairly clickbait. He'll play pure mid, but if you have to rest somewhere, he'll rest in the forward line. I don't think he'll rest off halfback. So, yeah, you can fade him if you want to. He is expensive. He'll probably drop down to 600K, but then that's as far as he'll go. I'm expecting a 115 plus average from him for the year. One of North Melbourne's best scorers every week. He's only 20. So yeah, fade him at your own risk, I think. You're going to be spending 3 trades to get him in at some point if you do.
Let's have a look at Sheasel. Let's have a look at the games where he had. Let's compare the CBA games to the non-CBA games. So let's see, centre half back. So if he's playing predominantly midfield, so let's say he had 50% CBAs. If you have in games where you had 50% or more CBAs, he went 124.6.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's say 48% is pretty damn close. Yeah. He's got a few 48s and 45s. So let's include the 45.
It's a good score. It's a good score.
9 games where he's got 121. Ladies and gentlemen, this will be the last time you will be able to pick Harry Sheasel in the back line. Yeah. I've had a time where I've flirted with the idea of not spending up to get Sheasel in my team. I've flirted with that idea. Believe me this, I have. But the same way a mother looks at you and slaps you across the face and says, you know better, I did that to myself. Don't fade the Shees.
He's 20. He's 20. That's all I'll say. He's 20. So, yeah.
So
just watch and see.
This guy
is not bad at football.
Is a sneaky for the Brownlow this year.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
He should have made All-Australian. He would have if he didn't get injured the last couple of games, I think. Well, and he played on a different team because they rarely do North Melbourne players, but yeah.
If he can average 25 disposals and 2 goals, you know, like he's an accumulator. He'll get 25 touches. But he's also having that forward training, and he could hit the scoreboard. Bro, this guy could genuinely win the Brownlow this year. He's a star. Fade him at your peril, I think. Fade him at your peril. It was mine and Ab's fault for doing player reviews of Darcy that caused him to get an infected ankle. Thanks, Kai. Thanks, Scott. Much appreciated, guys. Hiswa, go max and downgrade later if need be.
I think
that's always an easy option. Easy option. Hendrick was all right. Yeah, sure. Now that Darcy's injured. No, definitely not. Roma Tomato can piss off never again. He's not in my team. Fake Primo. Michael, Joe should stay loyal to his team and pick Nick Bryan in the rucks. Sounds like he's starting ruck with Draper forward, priced at 57. Am I tempting you, Joe? Look, Michael, I know this. We were trialing it in the back half of the year last year. If we look up Nick Bryan, that was essentially the game plan that we were running with towards the end of the season. Now, also the issue with that is that he would get subbed out. So that Draper would then come on in the last quarter and be our main ruck. So, you know, last 4 games of the season, when it's 68, he has had a very good season this year, this preseason. He's been doing very well. Look, if Draper leaves us at the end of the year because he knows it's a contract year, obviously he's an Adelaide guy. He's from South Australia. And Adelaide are pretty big on Sam Draper. So look, if he was to go for bigger dollars out in Adelaide, Nick Bryan as a starting selection next year instantly becomes the Tristan Sherry of last year. At that price, being the solo ruck, for sure. But for this year, I can't recommend it. I just cannot. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. Mark Lavelle, what have you done, mate? Mark.
Thank you very much, Mark.
So on your think, Big J, then this year is Draper's year, being a mature age ruckman now.
Yeah, potentially, but you got Brad Scott as a coach, so you know he'll have a good week, and then Draper will get relegated, and then Goldstein will come back, and then he'll end up sharing, and then he'll end up playing more forward because he takes a hanger in one game, and it's a weird one, man. Bombers need to do something. If this is Draper's year because you're desperate to do something, then no worries. It could be. It 100% could be. But it's a rough one. It really is a rough one. I can't put my heart on it.
He won't be prime ruck. He won't be. He's not number one ruck. He will be
that's the problem. Then he's not primed because he has to be.
Exactly. He's playing more forward. We're starting with Nick Bryan in the ruck. So Nick Bryan's the number one for this year. He's the primary person. Oh, Goldstein's just training dummy at this point. Mannequin. So, but Sam Draper is playing more as a forward, very strong, taking lots of grabs, improved his fitness base. From a football perspective, this is the best I've ever seen Sam Draper. But from a Supercoach perspective, he's sharing with Brian. Now, he shared with Brian, was it the last four rounds of the season last year?
I think so.
He averaged 85. What's he priced at? What is
400 and something?
So what's his break even? $409, $409,000, break even of 76. Okay.
Yeah.
It's priced at 76. He's going at 85. It's barely 9 points of upside. Not enough. Not enough. Don't do it. Don't do it, Mark. I love him, but don't do it. Draper main ruck. Hey, Velo, thank you very much.
What's up, Velo? Thank you very much.
You didn't have to do that, Velo. Draper main ruck or main flopper? Oh, come on. Look, it was genius what he did against Adelaide, all right? You can't take it away from him, okay?
Anything for a win.
Anything for a win, correct. You can't take that away from him. It was genius. He wasn't pinged for it. Then he's fine, okay? Oh, jeez. Getting me all excited about Sam Draper now. Oh, my goodness. The purple cardboard giant? Is this supposed to be about Sean Darcy? After having a weak forward line all preseason, I've added Parker and Sanders in the mix. Round 12 by Hurts. Do you think either could be keepers or just stepping stones? Parker, I can see a 90-plus average.
Yeah, 100%. I think you can pick both. I currently have in my forward line, I don't have Sanders. I have gone Horn Francis Rankin, and Rankin could be downgraded to potentially a Sanders. We'll wait and see. Frees up a little bit of money, which is cool. But yeah, 100%. You can put both in there. I think we're overreacting a little bit for round 12. These guys have all got DPP as well. So potentially you just have a DPP rookie in the midfield. You swap them around. Cool, you've still got best 18. You might find that, hey, you trade one out at the max price and then bring them in later. You can do something else. As long as you don't have like 8 rookies of the same buy round, you should be okay. So don't need to kill yourself too much thinking about, hey, I've got 3 guys at 300K, because if you look at it, Cheese, it's round 1 and this is round 12. So there's a lot of rounds in between to be able to figuring the rest of your team out. So don't hamper yourself being like, oh, in round 16, I've got 5 players. I better change my entire team. It's like it's 16 rounds, mate. You don't know if someone's going to get injured. If a super primo comes out of nowhere and you have to swap, you know, Curnow might become the Lord and Savior and you've got to trade Parker to him or something. So, like, don't hamper yourself too much by it. Pick the best ones you can have now. You've got 11 weeks of joy, and then spend a boost round 12, trade some players out, figure out the rest of your stuff. So don't need to worry too much.
I think they're stepping stones anyway. I think the only reason why you're considering Parker, I think the only reason why Parker's being considered is obviously because of Wardlaw injury, which means more CBAs for Parker. And Sanders you're only considering him because of the Trelaw injury. When both of those players come back, which is ironically enough at the same time in 10 weeks' time, but by that time they're already back, and so that you would have picked them, you would have made you their money, and you would have probably traded them out before their buy anyway. I think if you want to start them, I don't think you're starting them for keepers. I think they're both money makers for me.
I can see a world where Parker 100% ends up being a keeper. Sanders maybe not, just kind of his age and whatnot. And he's got Bevo as a coach, but 100%. Like Parker's done 90 plus for every season barring last year. So
yeah,
a 90 is going to make you at least an F6 in Supercoach. So yeah, 100% I could see a time. He hasn't missed a step playing midfield, playing forward, kicking goals. So yeah, I'm on the Parker train, especially now with Philippou no longer being in the team.
Well, Philippou, when he comes back, I think is certainly going to be up there as well. Someone that you're going to want to have in your team. Oh, Mark Lavelle with mate, you generous man. How are we going to play the flex? What's the thinking?
You want to go first?
What's the thinking? I had locked in the 3 primo rucks of Gawn, Darcy, and TDK. And obviously Darcy is out. And there's no one really else around that price point that I really like. So paying up for the 3 big rucks now becomes a lot harder. So I haven't done that in my latest iterations where I've been tinkering. Instead, I've been having a DPP player that can cover obviously a couple of different lines, because the flex supposed to mean flexible, I assume, or flexibility. And if you're locking in a player who doesn't have DPP there, then obviously you don't have a lot of flexibility because it can't cover multiple lines. You also can't do any sort of shenanigans when it comes to various trades. You can trade someone out and then do a bit of finagling to move using the flex position. So I've got a DPP player there at the moment where I can sort of cover a couple of different lines. So that's what I'm doing. I've got a money maker at the flex at the moment.
For myself, Mark, I currently have a 119k rookie. I think at the start of the season when we were going a little bit more guns and rookies in our teams, the third ruck potentially was that type of spot. But I had trouble finishing out my team, basically. So I've decided, hey, let's get another cash cow, another player that we think is going to be decent. Currently, it's Archer Reed. It could be the other Reed from Essendon. It could be kind of anyone at the moment. So, yeah, that's kind of what I've done. I think by the end of the season, you're either looking to lock in another midfielder or lock in another ruck. I think ruck is probably going to be the number one spot unless, you've got all the massive guys in that midfield and then, Lockie Neal becomes, hey, a must-have at some point. It feels awkward trading, Butters for Neal or something. But rucks generally have the biggest capacity. They generally have the highest ceiling as well. So, yeah, I think they'll end up turning into a ruck. But cheap cash cow, I think, is the way to go. I mean, my forward line is 5 guys that I hope can end up keeping for the entire year. So we'll see kind of what happens. We'll see. A lot of water under the bridge, but I think kind of the notion of going another primo has fallen away compared to what it was at the start of the preseason.
Yeah, look, I'll say that the DPP player that I've got at flex at the moment is Hewitt. Forward mid
F7.
Yeah. So I've got him there as like a 7th forward in the flex that has DPP, which means I can sort of cover the midfield and the forward line. And also because he seems to be a lock, playing a lot of midfield minutes, attending a lot of center bounces in the preseason for the Eagles. Obviously, Yo is injured, so that's massive stonks I suppose, for Elijah Hewitt. So he's a midfielder playing mainly on the ball, but with DPP. So I've currently got Elijah Hewitt as my flex at the moment. I'm going Gorn and English at this early stage, says the Fiddler. Very nice. Well, English is going to be primary ruck, you would imagine. No Jamara, which means that you'd certainly be thinking that Darcy plays a lot more forward because they need the Twin Towers and him and Norton if Jamara is not going to be playing. So should hopefully eat less into English's ruck contests. I can see that. That works. Logan says, shocker performance from you, Big J. Saudi shakes on top.
Sorry, mate. I'll do better. Somehow I got locked into the ruck and was taking hit outs. So I did all right in the hit outs, just everything else really didn't happen.
Yeah. Michael Draper dipping. Yeah, he is. He is. Cheese, big call here. Draper lives at Adelaide. Oh, that's basically what I said, Cheese. We're on the same wavelength. Yeah. Joe, you can't be serious on Flopper. Mate. Yaron!
What's up, Yaron?
XRP, baby! XRP army. Let's go, Yaron. No wonder you're able to pay us so much money all the time. You bought XRP back when it was 20 cents, mate. Oh, you crypto genius, Yaron. You crypto genius. Linda, do you think Harry Shares is a lock for Supercoach?
I think we kind of covered this before, right? I think he's going to be very hard to ignore.
Yes. Rapper will flop his way to a 75 average once again.
Probably.
He's very consistent in that department. I mean, look at him.
He's good at flopping.
75.9, 75.6, 72.4, 76. Like, this is quite consistent mediocrity from this guy. What about Richmond J. Short? Oh, we spoke about him earlier, Mark. Not for us. Not for us. Please, people, for your own sake, just leave Short out of your teams. Thinking of getting Tom Stewart, your thoughts? Oh.
If Rodney's still here, we'll check in with Rodney and see what he says. But I don't mind the pick. I think a few things are going to move around. He's got some weird hybrid halfback mid-type role that sees he's okay in Supercoach, but I just don't know if there's much value in the pick. I think a lot of us are desperate for kind of like a D3 that's compatible and actually works in Supercoach, and that's where some of these selections are coming from. But good price, gonna have to wait and see. And the beauty is we get round 0, so we can figure that out.
I'm pretty sure.
See you, Cheese. Enjoy.
I'm pretty sure. Hey, see you, Cheese. Good luck with the basketball, mate. I think this preseason, I don't know where I've read it or I've heard it, that Tom Stewart in the midfield no longer happening, and that Tom Stewart is officially going back to halfback.
Okay,
where he obviously played his best football.
Yep.
The issue though, is Stewart initially was playing halfback last year, but there were a couple of games where he was tagged, or there was a game plan where attention was really applied to him a couple of times, which then led to him going into the centre bounces. I don't think they, by design, wanted him to play in the centre bounce, but I think they were forced into doing it.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like, it was the tag halfback flankers kind of round of 4 games, right?
Yes, correct. So everyone tagged him, which basically forced him to go into the midfield, where he didn't quite score as great. So now he's going back to halfback. What do we think is going to happen? Is he just going to get tagged again off halfback?
Rodney's saying he all reports back to permanent halfback, so that's good for us. And then Stewart got tagged at every single game, so we'll see.
Yeah, so isn't he just going to get tagged again? Like, nothing really has changed from that department. Plus, he's older. Look, and the early buy as well. Look, if he goes, 106, 107, you're not disappointed with that, especially at the price point that you're paying.
Yeah.
But probably not for me. Probably not for me.
Yeah, it's a not from me for me as well.
The short at D3 have to be a keeper. Given we have 40 trades, all short has to do is gain 75k and have a similar average to the effective average of the early buy primo defenders.
Yeah, I can see a world where that somewhat works out. You just need him to have a much more higher kind of, hey, he's valued at 80 and you want a 90 from him, which could happen, couldn't not happen. I think it comes down to a lot of, hey, the value of a trade as well is still at around that 112k, 120k mark. So buyers beware a little bit, I think, with him. They're going to get smashed every week. And if that means that Sean's short's going to take every single kick out, then cool. No worries. If short comes into the preseason and they get slaughtered and it's literally like tick, 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 kick outs, then cool. I've added another mid-price into my team. Like, no worries. But there's a few things to take into account.
So, we're looking at the games where they got smashed. Okay. Now, we have an idea that if you're getting smashed, it means that the ball's in your back line a lot, which means the defenders should score a lot of points, right? So let's have a look. Gold Coast, they won by 39 points. What happened in that game against Gold Coast? He's had 20 disposals and how many kick-ins? 8 kick-ins. He scored 130. Okay, that's very good. Huge. 1 by 5. Port 1 by 30. We'll say 5 goals to smashing 30 points. So round
probably.
Two against Port. Yeah. Round 2 against Port. 21 disposals, 3 kick-ins for a 64. Okay. 5 they won. St Kilda by 7. West Coast by 39. So that's a smashing. Round 5 against West Coast. Oh, he got injured, but let's not count that then. Melbourne by 43 in round 7. Round 7, he didn't play. Okay. Round 8, Freo by 54. Round 8, he scored 115. Very nice. Bulldogs by 91 in round 9. He scored 84. Bulldogs Lions by 119 in round 10. He scored 83.
Whoops.
Cats by 30 in round 12. What did he score in round 12? 80. Hawks by 48 in round 14. He scored 116. 61 in round 16. Scored the 44 points. 51 in round 17. Scored 94. That's not a smashing. Round 19 is a smashing. Scored 81. St Kilda by 48 in round 22. Hawks 63 in round 23. And then Gold Coast not quite. So in games where they got smashed by at least 30 points, 12 of them last year, he scored 88 average from those games. And what's he priced at this point in time, you say?
Like around that or a little bit?
I think it's around. I would not be surprised if he's priced at exactly 88.
Yeah,
82. He's priced
there's
at
not
82.
a huge amount of advantage, no.
He's priced at 82. So there's there's some big scores there. There's been some big ones of 115, 116 a couple of times, but most of them are sub 100. Most of these games where they got smashed, 64, 84, 54, 80, 44, 94, 81, 89. He's had a couple of games of 115, 116, which have obviously elevated his average. And as we saw in the kick-ins, it's not like Rioli was eating a lot of them especially in the back half of the year. Quite a few where he had zeros and only 1 zeros, 1 0. Not for me. Jaden Short is not for me.
Now, if Loston gets
that explains
or something like that, then potentially, but yeah.
He has to be a better option. Well, if you're selecting him, then yes, he has to be.
That's why I like McKercher.
Jaden Short all the way. He can easily go down to Roberts. Well, I hope I haven't shaken your confidence too much here, B. James. How many primos for the center should we start with? Could we start with Bont Butters and Zach? You could.
Sure. Of course you can.
Why not?
No worries. Yeah, just means that you're not spending some money in other positions, but 100%. Probably try and lock in 4, Mark. So pick your best 4, lock those in if you can. Then throw in the Peatling or an Oliver if you want to, or a Chera. And then kind of build the rest of your team around that. You don't want to, and I think this is probably the negative of my current team, is that you don't want to get stuck having to chase the 600k players and be like, cool, the only way I can get these guys in is as if I spend a boost. And currently the way that my team's looking is all my boosts are going into midfield players because I just need them. If you can avoid doing that, then you're onto a winner. And I think that's something that just to take account for a little bit.
Yeah. Another thing I would say, Tatum, about Matty Roberts is pretty sure there was an interview done not long ago with Dean Cox about what the backline setup is going to look like. Because McCartan has been moved forward. So McCartan's moved forward, which means he's obviously not going to be the number 1 lockdown defender. And I think he mentioned that Blakey has got good height and Blakey can play defensive. So no mention of Matty Roberts playing accountable defense. Obviously, there was also a pre-season report recently which showed Sydney's track watchers having a few players running up and down the wing in what's his face. So Tom McCartan is playing forward. So Tom McCartan's moved forward. So he's the one who's going to be playing. So he's not going to be playing that accountable defensive work anymore. And then in the wings, pretty sure he had Goulden and someone else. McInerney. So Justin McInerney was someone that ate into Roberts' scoring. And in games where Justin McInerney wasn't playing, Roberts was scoring really well. But McInerney's now playing on the wing with Goulden. So we've got McCartan out of the back line. We've got McInerney out of the back line, playing on a wing now, which then would mean that Roberts is not going to be playing on a wing. Roberts is going to be playing halfback. And in the interview on the Traders podcast, yes, that's fantasy, but the same logic applies. They asked him what role you're going to play, and he said, I'm definitely playing halfback. And they told him about maybe getting some more kick-ins, and he said, I'll try. So that's another reason why I'm looking at Matty Roberts as potential upside to that selection price.
He did go bang last year.
He did. Pros and cons on Luke Ryan as a pick.
Round 0 game anyway, so we'll find out.
Yes, correct. What do you reckon about Luke Ryan?
No one else really takes kickouts. It's Luke Ryan and then Clark, and Luke Ryan will take triple figures and Clark will probably take 40. I don't mind the pick. He is very expensive, but the beautiful thing about him is that you can trade down to anyone. And if for the first couple of games it doesn't work, then cool. Oh yeah, they changed his hair. Look at that, Joe. Look at that. No more peroxide for Luke Ryan. Holy moly, is this like Cherry without their haircut or Cherry with the haircut? We'll wait and see, but I don't mind it. He's the number 1 kick-out taker. He's still going to be the man down there. But after the coach yelled at him, he definitely fell off a bit throughout the season last year. So one to watch in the preseason what their backline makeup is. But it's not like they've just brought in a bunch of players that are going to kick him out of the position and kick him out of the role. So, yeah, I don't mind it. It's going to be super pod though. That's the thing. Super duper pod. Now, if you get some more pre-round 14 games in him next year, fantastic. He'll be the only guy that gets to abuse the 197 like I did last year, while everyone else didn't have him. And yeah, but mate, you just need more from him. That's all.
That's his post by. Yeah. That's his post by scoring.
You're paying 600K for it. That's the only problem. 620K.
Yeah. So, and that's the question. That's the question about Freo. When they were winning, playing that boring crap football, but they were winning, okay? He was getting a lot of the pill and was scoring a lot of the points. Got in trouble for stat padding. They changed it up. They gave the ball more to Clark, and they missed finals. So what are they going to do? Are they going to go back to the way they played in the first half of the year? They go more Luke Ryan points? Or are they going to stick with the more faster ball movement with Clark and therefore less points for Ryan? Question mark. Just question mark. Looking at them, look at in the preseason, and based on the style that they play with in the preseason, hopefully that gives us more scope to know whether or not he's worth it or not. A weird report came out saying DeConning has some bad fitness at the moment. Don't know how credible it is.
Yeah, and then some people are saying, hey, like, it's all just trap. So we'll see.
Yeah, some people can call trap about anybody, but I mean, thoughts on getting Houston after round 3 bye?
I don't mind it. I think by then as well, the sucky thing about Houston is that we won't hear about what he's doing until the actual preseason games. So it kind of hurts us a little bit there. But 100%, I don't mind the pick. I think he's going to be okay. I think potentially as a first upgrade as well. A lot of people may have a Sheasel plus others in their backline. So to put someone else who doesn't have a round 12 or 13 bye helps quite a lot. And you'd hope by 3 games worth, you kind of know what's going to happen with their backline because as Joe's shown there, there's definitely some big scores, but there's definitely some worse scores. And I said this on the Supercoach Masters podcast last night. Well, not, you know what I mean. That Rioli's really, Noble's really the only one that's actually leaving from that backline. And then Josh Dacos has now moved in there as well. So where's his extra points coming from? If we're bringing him in and only expecting a 90 to a 95, it's not worth it for us in Supercoach. We need that 100 plus, especially this year. So hopefully by round 3, you can kind of get that knowledge and maybe he becomes that first upgrade target for a lot of people.
Yeah, I would have loved to be able to see him in round 0, how he fits in at the Pies and the role that he's playing. But obviously, that stupid suspension.
If only.
That stupid suspension still carries.
Yep.
But it makes it difficult, like trying to get our first upgrades going. Like there's already another very expensive Collingwood player that we all want in our midfields at some point, don't we, as well, in Nick Dacos. So, you know, like ideally Nick Dacos might be one of your first upgrades if he cops an early tag, like from Bedford, for example, and then
he plays William Drew round 1. Sorry, round 0. Round 0, he plays William Drew, so could cop a tag early. Yeah,
so, you know, you're sort of hoping that he can drop in cash pretty quickly and then he could be potentially our first upgrade target when he's, you know, when he's up and running again and his fixture opens up. Well, I don't know. It'll be difficult. I don't know about that. I currently have 5 players total who have early buy. 3 Primos and Mills and Smith. Is this too many or can I get away with it?
No, I think you're fine. Missing out on 1 or 2 per buy, I don't think it's going to break the bank too much. So, you know, it just means that you're setting yourself up a little bit for, you know, the second half. As long as they're primos that you think you're going to keep for the entire season, it's not bad. You can definitely do it.
Drew is injured at the moment. That's right. Do we know when he's coming back? Do we know when he's back in? I don't know. Hopefully he's not too long. So Carlton play Tigers, West Coast, and North in the first 6 rounds. Best start of any team, Supercoach. And that's another reason why I like DeConning in the ruck, and I also like Chera in the midfield. Exactly.
Makes Cripps kind of a sneaky option too if you want to go ballsy and pick up the big Patrick. It's one of the things that I think, not sure about Joey, probably does it, but I don't analyze early preseason enough because then you get gold like this. So something to watch out for a little bit.
Any Geelong fans? Look, I think, I'm pretty sure from what I've read, SDK has been training exclusively in the ruck, which is obviously really exciting when you consider the scoring averages that he had last year playing as the ruck. Now, if I go there, so looking at the ruck contests, this is the bulk ruck minutes. He had 5 games last year where he was number 1 ruck for a 95 average. You'd think that's awesome. That is awesome at that price point. But then you look a little bit closer at the scores. So he's got a 135 against Carlton. Okay?
Against his brother. So you know he's going to play up against him too.
Very nice. Then he's got a 64 against Essendon. All right, Essendon restrictive against rucks. Crazy. Then he goes a 125 against Meek at home in a smashing. The Hawks were destroyed that game. Then he scores a 58 against Darcy Cameron, a 95 against English, and then a 49 against Sherry. What does it tell you? Against good rucks, against good tap rucks, he can't compete.
Well, it makes sense, right? Because he's never done the position before. He's not got the body for it. Like, against good tap, he's going to get smashed.
Correct. So, against good tap rucks, he doesn't do it in these 4 games. All right? So, what is Geelong's early fixture like when it comes to playing against the rucks? So, Geelong. Where's Geelong? Bang. All right. They start with the Big O. That's going to be tough. Then he's got Freo. You never know if Darcy is back for this one or not. Could be up against Boyd or Roma. Then he's got Gawn. Then he's got Rob. Rob, if I recall, against Adelaide. Where is it? Nope. Too many tabs. Who's this? DeConning. Okay, so against Adelaide, what did he score? 35. Scored a 35 against Adelaide. That's rough. Hawks, he scored well. Carlton, he scored well. Collingwood, he scored very poorly. It's a mixed bag. Does he get to the good fixtures?
As solo ruck.
Or does he go through so many tough games in the meantime that Chris Scott's like, we're changing this up? And that's the question. If he can play enough games, if SDK can get through enough of these games and still hold his number 1 ruck status, then he'll come good afterwards. But in the meantime, I think it will be difficult. I don't think he will make money very quickly. After a certain point, maybe from here, he starts to make the money. But yeah, he's got 2 difficult matchups pre-buy and then 2 immediately after the buy. So yeah, SDK is a no for me. I did think about it, but the fixture's not great. His history against good rucks isn't great. And he plays for Chris Scott, and you can't trust him as far as you can throw it. He is a menace to our Supercoach sides.
That's an
absolute menace. I don't know. You'd hope that. But with all the talk of TDK trade, I can't see them playing him solo only for him to go to another club, right?
Potentially.
Well, I think they have to play him.
Yeah, but potentially. But I think Carlton are desperate for a good finals run this year, and they'll play him where they want to play him. They need to win finals. They need to do well this year. So I think, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts a little bit.
If I go to the fixture, because I know a lot of Carlton supporters are of the opinion that they are better as a team without Pitane in the side. All right.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Definitely.
obviously, they're not boss to make the call. But if we just simply look at their performances, they beat the Lions by 1 last year. So I got a ruck contest.
I think their
Carlton.
win-loss ratio is better with him in the team.
Okay. So
I think they were 8-1 with SDK, and then
TDK.
Without Pitnet. I think they were 8-1 without Pitnet, and then something like 4-6 with Pitnet in the team.
Well, there you go. There you go. So if they want to win more games, surely they run with Tom DeConnick.
Yeah.
Ready will start as R1. Yes, I agree. Chad Warner, very non-committal. Yeah, I did notice that. Notice that.
Well, when you get offered a couple of $1 million to go home, yeah, I think ever since the news came out that he bought a house in WA, and the club were like, "Oh, we're okay with him buying a house over there." Yeah, that was it for me.
Yeah, I've heard through a mate of yours that Chad's a lock for West Coast.
There you go. And West Coast need to be making big moves because Harley Reid needs to stay. And if they don't bring anyone in, if more people retire, if they have a shit season, he's gone. So they need to put more players around him because big clubs are coming. Joe's been talking about Harley Reid and Essendon since last year. So, that half a dozen teams are going to be asking the question. They need to do something to keep the players.
Yeah, for sure. Gone mad. Hey, Joe. D'Ambrosio, Massimo D'Ambrosio is my pot this year, especially when Day breaks down again. 2,000 plus points this year. Can he live up to his comment last year when he said he wants to emulate Goulden and Dacos?
Yeah, I have faith. It's not a pick that I'm going to be doing, but I have faith.
I mean, what's his price? You want to select a winger? What's his price? Massimo, 472. That's a lot of money. A lot of money for a winger. He did have some great scores at the end.
Yeah,
but he will never play on ball. So I don't quite know what Day breaking down has got to do with Massimo D'Ambrosio. They play entirely different positions. Imagine Chad, Harley Reid playing in the guts together.
Yeah.
Imagine Warner at Freo with Sarong, Brayshaw, and Young. That would be brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Brutal.
That could happen too.
Draper is breaking out the next Sherry for this year. Mate, I hope it works. Mark, I pray for you, mate. I pray. Yep, Port have a good ruck run, but also there are levels to ruck scoring, and Sweet isn't a good scorer around the ground. Possibly. Van Solder has an attitude issue too, so might be on the outside. So yeah, so he's injured and on the outside.
He tried to leave last year. He tried to go. He was cooked.
Mate, Jordan Sweet. How do I spell Jordan Sweet? What the hell?
SWEET. Jordan Sweet.
Jordan Sweet. So Jordan Sweet. I can't believe I thought about this. I can't believe I'm bringing this guy's name up here. But Jordan Sweet could be. Look at his scores last year. So subbed out.
Oh, it was decent at 150k.
92% CBAs, 86% CBAs, 77% CBAs. Subbed out here. And then 80%, 77, 93, 90, 83, 73, 78, 82, 80, 87, 84, 76. He averaged 92.7 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Taking away taking away the sub games, he averaged 92.7.
Yep.
Jordan Sweet. What the hell? I was borderline taking the piss before, but now I'm actually sort of like a little bit shocked.
No, you're not going to pick Jordan Sweet.
What's his price?
It's like $430, I think.
$478.
Yeah, he's too expensive.
Break even of 89.
Yeah, he's too expensive.
Is he?
Yeah. But for what
89
Port paid for him, Port paid for him, they did very, very well. Which was basically
they've got the easiest run. They've got the easiest run for ruck contests for rucks. Ruck.
I'm not going to talk about rucks this year with fours in front of their letters. I'm just going to go and let you pick the one that you want to pick, and then that's it, really.
Yeah.
Because whenever I pick one and say don't pick him, you say don't pick him. So
I'm not going to make you do anything, Cheese. I'm not making you do anything. Yes, Vale, Troy, Selwood, absolutely, Velo. It's okay not to be okay. It's true. We do need a mental health round, 100% every single year. I think that's what they were hoping Spud's round would be, but I think it needs to genuinely be an official round. Too many great men are committing suicide. It's unfortunate. Really, it's tragic. I believe nailing the captain most weeks is the biggest thing. Agreed.
Yeah. Captains each week, figuring out, like, I think a lot of us are going to be saved by the best 18s at the start of the season. Captains every week, and just when to upgrade and when not to upgrade as well. But, if you can lock in a 150 or a 130 every week times 2, you're doing pretty well. You don't have to have the best score every week, but you got to have the most consistent score every week, because that means that when people pick worse or other people's captains don't do so well, you're okay.
Yeah, sure. Guys, what about Baker for West Coast?
Is he still injured?
I actually think Baker's not a bad shot. I actually don't mind Baker. I think he's playing distributor halfback for West Coast. What's his price? Baker. Don't mind him. Baker. 443, forward mid. Wow, forward mid. For 443, so it's a break even of 82. Playing halfback. What's he like playing halfback? Baker. Get a Baker. Liam Baker. Could do well. In games where he's playing halfback, let's see. I don't even know. He never takes kick-ins. Is the problem.
I thought he was still injured, to be honest. For
plays
me,
all
while
over the
Joe
ground.
goes through this, I think there's just better selections at cheaper prices, to be honest. I'm picking Parker, I'm picking Daniel, I'm picking Smith, I'm picking McRae. Probably spend 80K more and get a Rankin or a Horn Francis.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll let other people take the risk, and then cool, if I've got to chase him and put him in my team for 80K more, well, there you go.
Yeah. I don't know. Pick someone else. He's too utility, though. He can play all over the ground. He's too much of a Mr. Fix-It. Jonas, good to see you, mate. Been a while.
What's up, Jonas?
Rank Pigstring has done about 5 or 6 hammies or setbacks from the hammies since he started. The Rankin, yeah. That's the only reason why I haven't got him in my side. He's just he's a hammy waiting to happen, unfortunately.
I might kick him out and put a midfielder in. We'll see. See how we go.
Oh, are you big on Rivers, Jonas? Langdon reported again. Yeah, I agree. That's just bizarre to me, Logan. I don't quite know why they're throwing everybody under the sun into the midfield. Mikey Phillips, Sarong or Brayshaw? I've got Brayshaw. He's cheaper, performed better on the run home. Now less likely to cop tags as opposed to Sarong.
I currently have Brayshaw as well for similar reasons, I guess. So bit of a wait and see, I think. Yeah, currently got him too.
Plus contract year.
Yeah.
Magnus, we ain't going to get a perfect team, and I'll trade Rivers to someone coming off the buy if necessary. Yep, exactly. You can't nail absolutely everybody, 100%. I got the dartboard out to select my rucks.
Mate, that's the way to go.
Sweet Meek duo. Sweet Meek. Sweet Meek. Let's go. Blessed are the Sweet Meeks. At least we'll know early round 1 if TDK solo as they are on Thursday night. That's correct.
Yep.
Great over Brian Joe. Come on, mate. You are better than that. Oh, for sure. Nick Bryan all the way. Hey, the Swifty did drop her folklore album a couple of years ago, Joe. That's pretty damn good. It's pretty funny. We were talking about before. What do you think of Riley Hardiman, DJ?
I think he's a great player. Definitely put on some size and whatnot. I think it's probably a competing between him and McDonald now that Goda potentially hammy, though he should be back for round 1 anyway. There's a few people competing for that bench halfback spot. Hardiman, Goda, Luke McDonald. So, yeah, he's not locked into a position, but I think he's great. One of those guys that's actually a defender that we've got in our defense at North, which is something we don't really have a lot of. It's always, we've got a mid, and then they play halfback, and we try and teach them how to tackle. Whereas Hardiman really does feel like a man's man defender.
Like a man's man defender.
It's like Braden Maynard, right? Like,
right, yeah.
He's a defender. He's not like a halfback that's been tried to say, hey, go and play somewhere else, you know? We covered this a little bit. Fiddler, I think he's going to play halfback mid-wing. If at points he pushes up to the forward line, that's just because he's carried the ball up there or been pushed into transition up there. I don't think he's going to play forward at all. They'd be stupid too. And we've got too many forwards already. So why put him in a position where he's locked in and he can't run around? Just doesn't make sense.
Yep, fair enough. Okay, Sports Nut, how you doing?
What's up, Sports Nut?
People are only on the Zorko train because Abs named him the weapon, to be honest.
I think so. Like 100% think so. Abs definitely has a bit of a polarizing figure and whatnot. But if you look at kickouts, Coleman was like number 2. And now Zorko's by himself. So, yeah, when you're taking mass kickouts. And do you want to pull up the kickout numbers, Joe? Or
yeah,
Brisbane?
Sure.
When you're taking 100 plus kickouts and then the next guy's taking like 40 and the other guy is no longer there, so 101, the next one took 60. So you'd expect almost every kickout to come through Dane Zorko this year. Probably when he's not on the bench, like when he's on the bench, the other guys get a turn. So yeah, that's why everyone's picking him and he's still going.
100%.
And you can always downgrade.
Yeah, Nas looks really good. Sinclair, I don't think will miss the start of the season, but
no,
because he's been cleared. He's been cleared of serious injury. If I can find the tab.
Yeah, I think it's just like a strain and things like that. I don't think they got anything like bad.
Yeah, Jack Sinclair has avoided serious damage. But if you've strained your hammy, it's very likely, given our circumstances, that he's probably going to strain it again. And if he does, then it's probably going to be an actual tear. So for me, he's a no. I don't like picking people doing hammies or straining hammies right on the eve of the preseason of the practice games.
Yeah, and I think with Philippou being out as well, they have brought in a couple of other players, but I think Sinclair will take a bit more mid-time. With Philippou out. Maybe if you pull up the one for St Kilda, Joe, he's definitely an option. I mean, if Sinclair goes more mid, Nazai's already taken the monopoly on kickouts. Now he probably gets another 20 to 30 on top of that.
And Bonner's gone.
But Bonner's gone, and then Sean Maker, I'm hearing, might not be best 22 at the moment. So, yeah, it's interesting. You get a guy that's number 1 kickouts for the whole year, taking 100 plus. Like, it's hard not to not to select him in your team, and a good buy round too. And he's cheap.
Yeah, I might have. He'll
be back.
I might have killed him. I think. Yeah, I don't know. I could have sworn it was a bot. If Flynn is struggling to look good against BJ Williams, I'm happy to miss out. I've always said it. Always said it.
He's got a few injury concerns too, so you kind of just have to take that into account. I think, yeah, it's a rough one.
Exactly. Coming off a premiership win, celebrations, it's bound to happen. It's bound to happen.
Hagen wants to go back to back.
Maybe, perhaps. How many games for North? Apparently, he's asking.
Yeah, I think if we can do 8 this year, fantastic. I mean, I saw a stat saying Adelaide did 8 last year and still ended up 14th on the ladder. So that'd be all right for us. Double plus a couple more on the following year, and then that's it. Really, I'm happy with 8. But you got to come out firing. You can't towards the end of the year. You need to start the season strong.
Rory Joe. Hey, how's it going? Nice name. Darcy out. Does this give Reedy a Yeah, it does, but only for a couple of weeks before he's back.
Yeah.
So don't trust it. Why don't North run Caleb and Kobe at halfback and play Fisher?
Well, I think they're going to. I think they're going to. There's a world where Fisher's not even in our best 22, or he's on the bench and might roll, for a couple of different positions, halfback, and then goes to the forward line. So, yeah, I'm hoping that's where the club's going to place him. We'll see in the pracky matches and go from there, really. Fortunately, I'm not Clarko and I can't decide the team.
Tight ass like abs. Fair enough. Cooper Bell, Gold Coast Suns. Have you seen a photo of this loose unit? What team name do you like best? Cooper Bell. I have not seen Cooper Bell's face.
This is the name that Joven. So Joven, I think, knows Cooper Bell, the Supercoach winner from last year. And yeah, he's decided to Cooper Bell Pepper, I think is his team name, and then working out the rest. So yeah.
Great photo. Great photo.
You might just have to Google search him, Joe.
Don't hate on the fish boys. He's a gun at Rainbow Six Siege, bro. He calls it a Parmo. He calls it a Parmo. He can get in the bin. Seriously. Unbelievable.
What's a Parmo?
Yeah, he calls a Parma a Parmo.
Not on my watch.
Beazle will outscore Dacos, etc. again this season. He's a star. He's a star.
Yeah. He's only 20.
Okay, I don't know what that was about. I'm praying to the footy gods Jagger Smith can be half as good as Sheasel for the Blues. Very much so. Joe, keep the Don's hat on. You know it only leads to tears. I'm not putting Draper in my team. Come on. You know this. You know I'm not doing that. What's happened to the Moa Mitch Owens? Should be St Kilda's 3rd or 4th best midfielder, but he has gone backwards. Just signed on for 4 more years.
I feel like, and St Kilda fans can correct me if I'm wrong, right? But I feel like Mitch Owens, ever since he got shafted into playing ruck in his first or second year, was forward and then started playing ruck. He's kind of been used as Mr. Fix-It a little bit around the field, which has obviously affected his scoring quite a lot. You've got guys like Garcia that can really only play mid and then get stuck into playing mid and is now playing pure mid in the team. And Owens is like, I can play forward, I can play ruck, I can do this. And then he kind of just fallen off the radar a little bit. He'll be a good player for them. But I think maybe he's not as quick as what they need either. So yeah, he's currently not running through that midfield, I'm pretty sure.
You're funny, Jonas. Hey, Maltese, you might be Draper for draft. Fair enough. That's a good shout. Great shout.
Done.
Damien Stafford. Hey, boys. Aiden and I are putting together our season intro song this week to send through. Love your work. Can't wait to see it. That will be brilliant to play on the eve of the preseason of the Pracky games. Cheers, Dame. Cheers, Stafford brothers.
It's going to be fun.
I hear want to play for Luke. Okay, fair enough. Would love to do a centre bounce draft. Well, we're going to have to do a centre bounce team, a community team.
Yep. Yeah, guys. So if you want to, we've got a few members at the moment, but if you're interested in supporting us a little bit more there, jump on as one of our members. Community team is definitely one of the perks. I'm thinking maybe we'll set up something on Facebook because it just means that we can kind of have conversations about which players and whatnot in the team. And then we'll do a couple of team reveals for that as well. So jump on there. We've got a few other members perks throughout the season. So something a little bit different. Want to get a bit more involved? Definitely send about team.
Yes, absolutely. We don't need to think about round 12 buys too far into the future. I pick the value regardless of buys. Thoughts? Yeah, sort of similar to what the last year's winner did, and
Yeah.
it certainly does play a part. I just think that I have no issues picking players in those, especially like round 12 buy, for example. No issue with you stacking up on players, for example, that will not be in your team at that point in time. Like, you know, the mid prices that are going to be stepping stones, for example, and the rookies, I wouldn't consider them as part of what you're counting. It's more so the premium, the keepers. Which of those keeper scores, those keeper players that you're going to have all year, you don't
Mm.
want too many of those in that buy round. If so, all the other cash gen, you know, and the mid prices, those you can stack up on those because you're planning on having them probably be traded out before round 12 anyway. So I've got no issues with that.
Yeah, I as Joe says, kind of jumping on that as well. I totally agree. Don't have too many in the back line where a lot of the round 12 guys end up being your keepers. Forward line, we don't know what it's going to look like. And, you know, if all your 380K guys end up being keepers, well, you'll have 20 trades by round 12. You know, you'll have an almost finished team and you won't have to worry. Not saying that won't happen, but yeah, I don't think it matters so much. Just don't have like an entire team of round 12 players.
100%. Now, whilst we've got some people here, you guys would have heard about the Swordplay Supercoach season guide. Okay. Now, and one that I've contributed to in relation to the Essendon Bombers. It is being advertised a lot because it really is an incredible guide that a lot of people have put in a lot of effort into. And all of the teams are covered. It's incredible value. And every content creator who has contributed to this also has a discount code so that you don't have to pay full price. So for us, the code for buying it is Center Bounce 10. So if you put in those codes Center Bounce 10 in capital letters, then you will get a 10% discount on the season guide. Okay. Now I can also tell you that the content creator which gets the most uses of the discount code will receive a prize for themselves and their subscribers. So, what does that mean? It means we've got competition, lads. All right. We want to be the best of the best, and we want all of you guys to get a prize from the Supercoach Swordplay boys. So far, the person in first place, they've used 3. JG from Supercoach Hub and the Third Men Up boys. All right. They've got 3 each. All right. They might have bought it for themselves. 3 people have used the code. All right. But if you are going to buy the code, if you're going to buy the guide that has been put together, a lot of work has gone into this. It's Center Bounce 10. Use the code Center Bounce 10, all in capitals, and it will get you a 10% discount. It will also show where you've come from. And once you've done that, let me know. Send us a screenshot that you've done it through the Facebook, on our Facebook page, and I'll keep a track of that. And I'll let you know how we go in the competition. All right. We have the best community. We have the chillest community. We have the coolest community. And if we win, you get a prize. And every single person who purchased the thing, whatever my prize is, I'll split it up between all of you guys. All right. So I'm not doing this for me. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for you guys. I'm doing this for the community. So anything that comes my way, I promise to you, I'll cross my heart and hope to die. Anything that comes my way, all the people who have taken a screenshot and purchased the guide using the code, I will give you your portion of that would have come to me. I don't want anything of this. The guide was made for you guys. I've contributed it so that we can all help each other. But let's just rep the center bounce. Let's just win this comp. Let's show everyone that we have the best community here. And whatever prize I'm going to get, I'll give it to you guys. All right. So center bounce 10 to buy the
season guide.
To buy the season guide. I keep forgetting what it's called. And this is what it looks like. The season guide. You can pre-order it. And if you use our code, you'll get a 10% discount. It covers what to look for, team structures, team-by-team analysis, rookie analysis, flex strategy. It's featuring everyone from George, Abs, the coaches panel, Swizz, then the Supercoach Insider Boys, Damo, Supercoach Edge, Mortz, DFS himself, me from the Center Bounce, SDS, we love Stavo, Dr. Supercoach, Footy Mailbag, Inside Fantasy Sports, with Mick, Shorty, Supercoach Hub, Jaden Poposki, the best statistician in the comp, Azza, Joven, the 2024 winner, the Doodles, Mini Monk, and Third Man Up. It is a stacked lineup. I'm sort of a little bit embarrassed to have myself be part of this ridiculous group, but honestly, it's going to be value. You get 10% off, and hopefully our community kicks ass. Let's be real. Want to kick ass. Center bounce all the way. So yeah, this is I'll see if I can put the link in the chat in the comments, guys, for you.
And just as we go through that, Big Maltesing, thank you very much for becoming a member of our channel. Thanks for always the support, jumping on, talking shit, but always talking shit. But that's okay because that's what we do. Thank you very much.
100%. So this is just sort of like a little preview of the write-ups all the time. All of it. It's really good. Like we said, a lot of work went into it, and it's being advertised everywhere. But what's not being advertised is the little competition side of things. So rep the center bounce, show them where you came from, and like I said, whatever prize I get, I'll give to you because this was made for you and not for me. Okay? Thanks for the spill. We want to win, God damn it. We want to win. We want to be the best. Chuck out the rest, mate. We're going to do it.
Easy.
I've gone Sherry and Nank, easy downgrade to deconning if he solo rucks.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. I don't mind starting TDK. I've got Gorn currently, but the extra 120k does look very enticing. But in saying that, if it doesn't work out, you've got to move a bunch of players around. So it's 50-50.
Look, Nank is, I mean, it was career best year. And if we take out the injury game,
it's not bad. And this is where we were talking about before, Mark, about wanting a flex player. Because when you start to get 120s, 130 averages from a ruck, like it ends up being a bit juicy. I mean, you can get that score out of a midfielder. Maybe we end up with the Nick Dacos in flex or someone like that. But it does look very good for right now.
So taking up the injury game, 112.8. That's wonderful. You love to see it. The only problem is he is pretty injury prone and he is getting older in years. So he might get injured and go down. That would really, really suck. But you know what we say? You start the injury risk, don't trade them in. So you've got to start him.
Johnson, Samson, Ryan.
Exactly. Forgot what year it was. Gordon Grundy.
There you go.
That was a while ago.
Could be the last year we do it too.
Could be. Hollands from the Blues. Yeah, playing half back. Apparently, a bit of knock on his kicking, which is not good because we saw what happened with Nick Martin. He had a knock on his kicking, playing off half back, and then was moved out of the role. The Blues are playing for a premiership, and if they've got a half back who's struggling to kick the ball and turning it over, you'd think they'd make that change pretty quick, smart. I don't like it. Trent Rivers at D3, on fire. Love it. I mean, he is your boy, Legend. He is your boy. I've got Kane Farrell as a massive D3 pod. Super risky and probably won't keep him, but I'm going to take risks this year, I think.
Yeah. My only problem with Farrell, I've said it before, but my only problem with with Farrell has been that even when Houston was out, Farrell didn't come in and take majority kickouts. And I think you're picking him because of that. Evans took a few other people took a few as well. And Farrell, what wasn't left to the dust, but it wasn't like auto include, hey, way to go, bang. So just something to watch out for, I think, a little bit.
Fair enough. What do we think of Archie Roberts? Hasn't really been tearing it up, Johnny Blaze. He hasn't been tearing it up, but I think he's in our best 23. Might play some wing time, so probably not a selection. Yanko, g'day Yanko. Hello boys. Who's thinking of a gun flex player? Most weeks will be in your 22 scores, especially a ruck gun. He's gone with Nank at the flex. Gone Sherry Nank.
You must have so much money left in your team if you can just casually be like, Nank, get in the flex position. Tell you what, something's going on. You've got a couple extra rookies on field more than what I've got. I tell you.
Oh yeah, I love it. The traders are. Oh yeah, I'm not respecting the traders as a fount of knowledge, Velo. It's more so just that they had the interview with Roberts, and Roberts himself said that he's playing off halfback. So I'm not taking anything that the traders themselves said. I couldn't care less what they have to say. I'm also just focusing on the fact that Roberts himself said that he is locked into playing halfback, which is great. We don't want Roberts playing on a wing. Yeah, because Roberts playing on a wing is obviously no good. But if he's playing halfback with potentially, McInerney playing on a wing, then that's huge. That's excellent for him.
And we get round 0 to wait and see.
Exactly. Considering Dylan Moore over Horn Francis. Guessing Horn Francis will be down the pecking order in Port's midfield. Plus, I want to limit the round 12 bye players. Got 5 of them at the moment. What do you guys think?
I think 5's okay. 5 is actually a really good number. Joe's currently hiding himself, which is cool. I think 5's good. Moore has always felt like a player that I want to upgrade into throughout the year. Not someone that I think presents huge value. And if he's taking a spot away from someone who's 350k-ish, who I think could end up popping out hundreds, I don't know if that's more in my team. I think Horn Francis can do it. I think potentially he could go a little bit bigger. I think Rankin could definitely be around that as well. And I just think Moore has his big games, but then has his games where he just disappears. And, Will Days come back. There's a few talking points on some other players as well. So he would be an upgrade target for me. He's not a starter.
Yep.
Hey, Causler, if you're in the chat, let us know if you're picking Daniel still, because I'm interested.
Nick pops off. Yeah, that's the problem with Nick Dacos. If he pops off, then it's tough. But thankfully, he's got. Pretty sure he's got a tough start to the season. If I recall, Collingwood, Giants, Port, Dogs by Carlton, Sydney, Brisbane, and then Anzac Day things start to open up for him. So we'll see.
Maybe first upgrade target, not.
Yeah, exactly. Comment I read last week. How about a name and shame video for content creators who finish outside the top 10K?
That's not. Yeah.
Are you going to do it? Are you going to do it, Jonas? If you do it, then you're free to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. It's not for me. The community is too good in Supercoach, and everyone's happy to jump on other people's channels. And obviously, there's monetary, things that happen when a creator goes on someone else's channel that, is a bit more famous and whatnot. No one asks for anything. No one does anything. I think people have bad years and people have good years. That's a no from me.
Yep. Is Clark from Frio a good pick for D3? Asks Anne Louise.
When I did the Defenders video, I said probably not. I'm going to stick by that at the moment. If I had to pick him or Luke Ryan, I would pick Luke Ryan. I think people are just picking him because of the price point, and Naz is 20k cheaper, and I think he's going to be a better selection. So don't grab him. You can if you want, but it's a no from me.
All right, it's going to start going a little bit faster. I made it back. G'day, Woody. Love that you're still going strong. You know it. You know it, Woody. Don't worry about the round 12 buys. Who knows what will happen by then? Long season. It's a long season, but the thing is, you know the fixture. So imagine knowing the fixture so far out in advance, knowing that those teams in round 12 are so stacked with very relevant Supercoach players, and you've had all this time beforehand, and you get to it and you still get screwed.
Yeah.
How stupid must you feel at that point in time? You know what I mean? Like you had all this time to prepare for it and know that it's coming, and then you get shafted because you've got 8 keepers in that buy round. You know what I mean? I don't think I know it's a long season, yes, and things can change, but you know what's ahead. You know what's coming.
Just don't have like 10. Just don't have 10.
Don't have 8 keepers out that week.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna lose points that week. Guaranteed. You will lose rankings for free that week. Ratkins? Yeah, nah, stuff him. Not the rat. Blixarv's training in defense the other. Oh, yep, there you go. But you never know with Chris, things can change.
SDK one bad SDK game, that's it.
Exactly. Young Core Boys saw Geelongcat's training video. He played ruck and defense. He was on Jeremy Cameron in defense. So there you go. So he played ruck and defense. So
I think that's where he's going to be. I think this is going to pinch hit.
Yep. What are the chances? Cameron, go Cameron. What are the chances of Doherty going DPP? Cameron. With Newman down, you think he becomes a premier in defense again? Carlton have a ton of mids. They do. Yeah.
I think
you never know.
The tendency for them, though, I haven't heard much about Doherty playing back, and I think they seem to have liked him in that mid/wing role, where he was playing a couple of years ago. So potentially, watch and see for him, though. He would be one that we've spoken about not starting round 12 by players. He 100% for me would be one that I'm happy to say, cool, I'll wait. Post by round 13, jump on him. No dramas.
Doc will be mid-wing 100%. There you go. And I think that might change if, for example, his kicking continues to be shit, coming off half-back, and you obviously don't want to have players turning the ball over in your defensive side of the ground. So if a change has to be made there, it's possible that Doherty becomes the guy. But at this point, I don't think he's going to be what you hope. My ruck combo is Sherry, Flynn, and Boyd with Flex Reed.
Interesting. You might end up finding yourself it working out quite well. It does save you a lot of money not having a Gorn and getting Flynn in. But big wait and see. Big watch and see.
And win-loss was 9-1 without Pitto. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oscar Allen also non-committal. I saw that.
Imagine if Warner swapped with Oscar Allen. That'd be an all right trade. You would do that. You were Sydney, Logan McDonald and Warner in the forward line. Logan McDonald and Oscar Allen in the forward line. Warner in that midfield. They'd do it.
Yeah, 100%. TDK is a no for ruck. He will play anywhere that needs plugs to be filled. I definitely see him playing chunk. I don't rate Carlton's defense as is, to be honest, they're slow. I can't see DeConning playing backline.
No, not backline, but I think 100%. I think some of the times when Pitnet played ruck, DeConning ended up being a forward or pinch hitting. Kind of, he would stay there and then just another marking target, especially teams that maybe didn't have a lot of good tall defenders. It kind of exploits them a little bit that way. Yeah,
no, but DeConning is not playing chunks of time in defense. I don't agree with that.
He's not his brother.
If anything, now this might be a mixture of Tom and Sam. Like Sam DeConning, yes, will play chunks in defense. Tom DeConning, he's a ruck through and through with forward craft. I don't see him playing behind the ball. I see him resting forward for sure, but I can't see him playing in defense. Sweet is a no for me in classic. Draft is a late option. Fair enough. Absolutely.
I think it'll be a forgotten option as well. So if you missed out on a Cherry, Gorn, Nankervis, whoever, yeah, might be a good selection for you.
Started this live having made 87 changes. Now I've made it 89. Please stop this live now.
Sorry,
I'm trying to wrap through these last few comments that we can so that we can finish up. Velo, is there any chance Levi Ashcroft plays half back with Coleman out?
I don't know what he played in the grand final games. It could be an option. I mean, anything's an option. But no, I don't think it's going to happen.
Look, if they want to ease him in, because they just came off a flag.
Potentially, stress. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting the Ashcrofts mixed up.
Yeah, this is Levi, not Will. So this is the Levi had the injury problem, so maybe they don't want to play him on the ball too much, obviously to protect him and his development. But he's played his entire juniors on ball and forward of center, so this would be an entirely new position for him. But let's be real, I don't think it takes a lot of effort to learn how to play halfback.
No, and I think Sheasel definitely played half forward mid in his juniors as well, and then jumped in half back. So it could happen. We could all get stuck having to put Ashcroft in our teams. Be sexy.
Monchino, no more spuds. My team is going for chicken. KFC Sanders and Nando's Anderson.
All right, no worries there.
Man, Nando's Anderson, I'd pick him, but he's such a home ground advantage, home ground merchant. It's ridiculous. I think what people are forgetting is the Lions have 3 preseason games this preseason.
Do they? Oh, I guess because round 0 as well.
Potentially, yeah. It's round 0.
Let us know what you mean.
I've been waiting for this code, Joe. We need this in bounce to win. Here, Velo. Get us over the top.
Make it happen, Velo. Tell all your friends.
Tell all your friends. Send a bounce to win in the buying contest. And like I said, in the guides contest. And like I said, anything that comes my way, I'll give it to you guys. Center bounce 10 is the code. Next pay. Excellent on your mark. Love ya.
Your mark.
Why is there no love for Grundy when it comes to a ruck option?
It's an interesting one. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know what's happened, but no one has Grundy in their teams. Maybe it is early run or just hard fixture. But yeah, no one. No one has Grundy. So maybe pick him, Rory, and then he goes big and you can say, hey, I've got Grundy and no one else does. So be the same with a few people that's ended up picking Briggs. I think a lot of people, though, have dodged early buy rucks. Maybe that's a thing, potentially.
It's also that his floor is pretty bad. And he can be pretty flaky with his scoring. He's not going to be at top of line. People are quite confident that he's not going to be top of line. Does he make you enough money? Well, the early buy certainly prevents him from making a lot of money very quickly because he has a week off pretty early on in the season. So people might just want to set and forget others that they're likely going to keep that doesn't have the early buy, because the problem is a lot of people are going with, Sherry, Gorn, DeConning, Nank, seem to be the 4 most popular Uber Primo rucks, and none of them have the early buy. So the problem with selecting an early buy ruck is that a lot of people everyone else is going to have 2, at least 2, whereas you're going to have only 1. So that puts you behind the 8 ball. Whereas different people might have different structures. So you might have an extra premium in your back line, for example, but you might be playing 1 rookie in your midfield. It sort of balances out with other people. But in the ruck, there is no sort of making up for it. You either have the 2 primo ruck scores or you don't. And rucks tend to be among your more reliable scorers as well. So that might be the reason why. Thoughts on Ollie Hollands and Dawson as pods? I'm tossing between them and fading Peatling.
I think Joe's spoken a little bit about Hollands potentially having some bad kicking, but we'll just have to watch and see in the preseason for what happens. If he gets half back, cool, no dramas. Lock him in. He'll be a stepping stone, so don't expect much more than that. Dawson seems to have moved out of the midfield and is going wing, which he has kind of played before, for Peatling to come in. So, yeah, probably a good idea just to keep Peatling. We'll see.
Yeah, I think Peatling's good. Peatling certainly presents value at his price point. They recruited him on big bucks out of GWS. We saw what he could do in the midfield at the Giants when he got his gig, and it's good enough to make you a lot of money very quickly and be a last upgrade place for Adelaide with a later buy, which means that you can hold him through a lot of the buys and then flick him off to anyone else coming off of their buy. So that's why we like Peatling here. I'm not picking Daniels anymore, says Causa. Got better forwards.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's better ones. I just wanted to check up on you.
Currently have 10 round 12 buy players, but 4 or 5 of those are upgrade picks. Is this too many?
No, I think that's okay. If that means that you go into round 12 with, let's say, 5 or 6, cool. No dramas there, Velo. You need that cash cow. You need that early scoring early. And like missing out on a few of that by not being like, oh, I can't pick them, it's going to set you behind.
Yeah. Out of Sanders, Baker, and Bailey Smith, which two would you pick?
Baker. Sanders and Smith. Baker is a no from me. I just don't think they're going to be good enough. And Baker's not done it before, and Sanders, has Bevo, and Bailey Smith used to have Bevo, so they got the Bevo factor.
He's lost 7 kilos, trimmed down following the Harry Sheezel diet, which is awesome, and he does look good. Had 30 disposals and 3 goals in the match sim. So obviously there's also the injury to Treloar. So they've got to try Sanders at least a little bit through there. I think Sanders and Bailey Smith, I agree.
Yeah, I think so.
TDK will not play defense. I agree.
Well, there you go.
TDK is one that brings speed and energy to our midfield. Agreed. No, they have 2 half games against Collingwood and Gold Coast. Brisbane does on Sunday. And then Travis is saying they play the Suns, Magpies, and Adelaide.
Because they're playing the Indigenous game.
Yes.
Nice.
Meek as a ruck. No, he has round 4 bye, but can see him improving.
Yeah, there's a bit of competition with Reeves, who's 210 centimeters and has come back fit. When Reeves was out, Meek went bang. That's why he started at 350k, because Reeves was in it. So if they play both, and I can see a world where they do, because Cal Shadee is currently injured, and they need forwards, and Meek can take a good contested mark and kick goals, that it could affect him a little bit.
If not Reeves,
if you're sharing ruck, you don't pick him.
If not Reeves, I like Briggs as an early buy ruck. So I think Briggs is clearly the number 1 ruck, solo rucking at the Giants, and he has come back earlier in the preseason. He was struggling with injury last year. He's come back earlier and this year with the first year players and fitter. And I saw a video on the social media where Kingsley was actually praising Briggs in front of everyone and applauding him and congratulating him on putting in the hard yards in the preseason, that he's reaping the rewards. So if there is a cheaper ruck that I'm willing to take on the early buy rounds with, I think it's Briggs. I think he offers value at that price personally.
Nice.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is over 2.5 hours once again on Monday night, as is the usual here on the Centre Bounce. Cheers, Velo. Thanks so much for watching.
Guys, check out our swordplay. Well, check out Joe on the swordplay season guide. Centre Bounce 10 is the code. Helps us out a lot. And any funds we get from you guys purchasing, we'll send back to you. So no worries there.
Yep. So you get a kickback of 10% just from using the code. and we'll obviously kick you back whatever prizes we get from them. We'll kick that back to you as well. So you're getting double the kickbacks financially, plus obviously all of the valuable information that is inside of
What
the
is this?
guide
The
there.
Labour government double kickbacks? Oh,
I know, mate.
it's like
And
the trade unions. Oh,
the guide's only $20 exactly. It's only $20. It goes to a it's you can't go wrong with it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for viewing. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, notification bell, all of that jazz. I'll get an updated team video out for you guys, if not tomorrow, then the day after. And
mine will be out tomorrow as well. Guys, we've got 200 people in the league as well. So if you haven't jumped in the league code is down the bottom. It's going to be a lot of fun. 3 prizes to win.
Yep, as is usual, 3 prizes to be won. If you win the league, you get your jersey of choice, obviously from your club. If you get the highest individual score of any particular week during the course of the season, you end up with 2 tickets, general admin to a game. And of course, if we can't win either of those 2 things, we do have a lottery, little spin the wheel, random number generator prize, where you will get an AFL store voucher. So join for the fun, join for the banter and the good times, and you might just walk away with a prize for free.
Right. And you get to watch us every week as well. So that's paid up all the money too.
Because guys, here at the Centre Bounce, we do the hard work, so you don't have to.
You guys don't. We'll see you next week, guys. Stay tuned for more content. It's going to be mad fun. Have a good week.